Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Shepard, and I'm joined by Lily Padman.
Hi.
And we have returning Melissa McCarthy, but now very exciting, one of my oldest friends in L.A., Ben Falcone.
Yes, the duo.
Ben has been more and more in my life now.
He's lovely.
And I just like it so much.
Good.
I'm reminded of what a sweet boy Ben Falcone is.
You'll hear he's a little bit of a fraidy cat, and it's really cute.
Yeah. You know what I wish he had done is brought his guitar, sang and played for you. He has the most beautiful voice, and he's a great guitar player. And a lot of his sketches were singing, and they were so good.
Oh, my God.
He and I wrote a song once called Kaleidoscope, and we would spell out the whole thing. That was K-L-L-E. Okay, Melissa McCarthy, of course, Bridesmaids, Gilmore Girls, Spy, Ben, Bridesmaids, Tammy. He directed 4 or 5 of their movies together.
Yes.
And they have a new podcast called Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. It's very
so fun.
Comedic Game of Thrones, scripted podcast, very well done, very funny. So everyone check out Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. Please enjoy Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Ben, you as well. This is a very cute look for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Don't you agree?
I'm kind of crazy about it.
Yeah. It's shocking to me you haven't been cast in a period piece.
Well, there's still time.
still time.
And McCarthy, you look beautiful, right?
Oh, well,
I
thanks.
said to Melissa, really quick, do you call her McCarthy mostly?
I call her McCarthy or Mooch.
That was
He's
so
got Mooch
cute.
for 20-some years. I did not think my betrothed would be like, hey, Mooch! Hey, Mooch! Like, when did I become like a Milwaukee bowler?
Her habit, though, is we could be talking for 25 minutes. And then the minute I leave, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go use the restroom, whatever I'm going to do. Hey, Ben. That's when she remembers.
I'd like to say that's not true, but it's like 100% true.
Yeah, yeah.
The second he's walked away, oh, hey, Ben. Hey, Ben.
And your nickname for Ben is Ban.
Ben.
Ban. Yeah, I'll say Belle a lot too because it's shortest. And also where I grew up, everyone went by last names. That's how you knew you were a really good friend. Did you guys do that?
I did.
Falcone?
No, nobody has ever really called me. That's difficult to do with a lady nail.
Oh, yeah, you have pretty lady nails on.
And a really long, what is that thing?
It's just finger jewelry, Dax.
Oh my God.
I mean, your basic stuff.
Also Amazon, or that's from a real collection?
This is real. Everything on me, I'm probably hiving under this. It's brought to you by Bezos, really.
You guys are going to be rubbing salve, cortisone on each other tonight.
Yeah.
This
So
is
much I'll
all
be like,
over.
I don't know what that bump is. That's definitely irritated.
Tell me it's not a boil, Ban. Ban.
Ben. For people who are only listening, you should give a context of what's happening.
Yes,
Sure.
yes. So Ben and Melissa came adorned in, I guess, Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Garb.
Yeah. And I got to say right out of the gates, I thought for sure yours, McCarthy.
Yes.
You had spent a fortune on because it looks couture. It looks
really does.
really nice.
I mean, it's like you put enough random pieces together and you just might get something.
You've kind of piecemealed this.
This is like one bodysuit over another. It's like I'm wearing unitards.
Wow.
And just in my, I guess, crotch panel.
crotch plate
Just to keep it more classy, I
Yeah.
guess.
and protected. Those Middle Ages, they were coming hard.
Yeah,
for
they were
that.
coming after
Yeah.
the crotch.
This area was in danger.
So, Melissa, I don't even know how I would verbally describe this, but you're in kind of faux chainmail with fluorescent underscaling.
It's a lime green unitard.
Uh-huh.
And then over that, I've put, in my head, was supposed to look like dragon.
Yes, it looks like dragon.
Dragon, what do you?
Scales.
Scales. And then finger bedobbles.
And nice leather shoulder
It's really
plates.
true.
A big cross section of leather across the
Yeah.
breast.
So it's medieval with like a whisper of gimp.
Yeah. Yes, it really does look like the famous gimp outfit. Much more artistically.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was going for.
You look like a learned man from the Middle Ages.
Yeah, I should have like a pipe and a big book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can read and
Seems
you're
right.
good with letters.
Yeah.
And papaya.
Very Shakespearean. Papaya.
Yeah.
I meant papyrus.
I thought you were just going, he likes fruit.
Dax always kind of distinguishes personalities by fruit, a specific fruit moment.
You know McCarthy, she's a real banana. That's what I'd say about you. I wouldn't if I had to pick a
What would
specific
you? Now this is a fun game.
Oh,
kiwi.
I'm a kiwi or you're a kiwi?
You're a kiwi.
I'm a kiwi.
Yeah.
Furry?
No, well, I said that because that's my favorite fruit. It's so sweet and yummy, but also mild. It's a milder fruit.
It is a
mild
milder fruit.
It is, right?
Also, I just watched something where someone's like, oh, you're missing out. You should be eating the outside too. And I was like, no.
I don't think so.
absolutely
What?
not.
Absolutely not.
No.
No, but they were like, you're missing all this good. I'm like,
Yeah, but
I'm not
like,
eating fur.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
Also, did you have a sketch at somewhere that you said a big hit of kiwi? Because our friend Jess says that all the time, and I believe it's
Well,
you.
their friend
which
Jess
is
as
a
well.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Your friend
Yes.
Jess is
Giant Jess.
Giant tall Jess.
Tall. We just saw him not too long ago.
Affectionately known as Giant Jess.
Yes.
He's a
GJ,
banana.
which is
He's a
confusing.
banana.
Yeah.
Is he a banana?
With that height.
No, I
No,
don't see
he's
him
a
as a
carrot.
banana.
Strawberry? Well,
Would be
that's not
the-
a fruit at all.
You're right. With the
This
red.
is embarrassing.
It is.
Wow.
It's really easy to get it wrong in this game. I feel like people are going to be offended by
I
whatever
think Jess
you
could be
say.
a pineapple.
Oh, I like that.
Prickly?
No, a plume.
Yes.
Oh.
A plume on top.
And pineapple's delicious.
Very.
Oh, by the way, Ben eats people. Could not think of the word cannibal to save my life. So I was like, he does that thing where people eat other, you know when people eat people? I don't even remember where I was going. Cannibalism. guys.
Cannibalism. Okay, all this is because you guys have a podcast, which is, well, let me just start by saying it's interesting that you got into the podcast space in the hardest possible way to do it, which
That's
is
our way, Dax.
fully scripted.
Oh, it's a terrible idea.
So hard.
Super produced, incredibly well done, I'll add. I keep thinking I'm bumping into something and it's my horns are squeaking on my head. I don't know how long I can go with the horns. I'm going to have head hives for sure. Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Ooh, I just have a big line of sweat
Yeah, I would
across
maybe
the
lose it.
Table that for a second. Okay, but yeah, the amount of work on your plate is hefty for this.
Yeah. Super high work effort.
Cost us a good little bit. Hard to break even.
We're the studio. No one's part of it, just us.
Sure.
Really wrote something that is incredibly visual, but you'll never see it. So really, you stack that deck up and you're like, wow.
We were like, 2 wrongs don't make it right, but what about like 6?
It was so poorly done that it was quite a success.
I actually think it's fantastic, but it's just so much work.
What was really shocking is then as we kept asking people to do it, we were like, will we even get through the explanation? And then it was pretty shocking when people were like, oh, yeah.
Who are you most nervous to approach? Because you have Glenn Close. That one seemed really nerve-wracking to explain what this would be to her.
She's so funny and loves like a weird thing. So I was like, I think this might be right in Close's wheelhouse.
And what was interesting was you were out of town, so you zoomed in and said hi. I have met Glenn a couple times just at functions and stuff, but at first it was, we have a very quick VO for you to do. And then I was like, what if she actually wants to do something fun? So that morning, I went in super early and wrote 5 pages. So her stuff gets more and more, and it develops with Octavia as it goes. But what I found was I was so glad I did because she really wanted to do more.
She's incredible. I don't want to say anyone's the best part, but I was like, wow, she fucking brought it for this. And then I assumed you guys are super close. You're not.
We have not worked together. We're trying to work together, but we've known each other for years. A crossroads in my life. She was in town. We were going to go out to dinner, and we were talking about 2 different things. And then before we got off the phone, after we said, oh, let's have dinner tonight. And she's like, can I stay over tonight? I leave in the morning. And I was like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I literally was like, Glenn Close is having a sleepover at my house.
And I was in Australia, so jealous.
I was like a little bit out
girls
of body.
sleepover.
Just the 2 of you? Were you with the kids? Who had the
I was
kids?
with the kids, yeah.
It was just you 2 in the home.
And I was like, absolutely, you can. At any moment with no advance notice, Glenn can sleep at my
Here's
house.
the key to the home. Feel free to use it or not. So first you guys went out to dinner, and it was a fun dinner.
Fun dinner,
Cocktails.
cocktails.
Everyone's relaxed.
Super relaxed. She's really funny. We're talking about all this stuff, going off on random stories. Great dinner. And then we got in jammies and said goodnight. And it was wonderful.
Okay, so no post-dinner in jammies. Was there any TV or anything?
No, there wasn't because we got home pretty late and she was leaving really early in the morning.
Okay.
Dax always thinks when girls have sleepovers, they fuck. That's where this was
I thought pillow
And
fight was going to be said. I didn't
no.
anticipate.
Well, that's obviously one of the stepping
That's-
stones
yeah.
en route to the ultimate. What if you'd have got the call from McCarthy and she said, Ben, I did fuck Miss Close last night. I need you to know this.
I'd be like, all right.
Yeah. You'd be like, I get it.
I mean, I get it. She's wonderful.
But I always want to know, where did that start of like tickle party and like
I
pillow fight? I'm like,
know.
never in my life. The only time I've probably hit someone with a pillow was like my sister and I fighting. And I was like, I'm going to fucking knock your block off.
Yeah.
Like, it
nothing
wasn't like-
cutesy.
It's not flirty.
Yeah, and I've never, to my knowledge, tickled one of my friends.
Well, we know where it came from. It came from movies that guys wrote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like Animal
for sure.
House or
What
whatever.
they
Yeah.
dreamed was happening.
That's my question. Why is that like, man, I'd love to see her tickle her. oh, look at her tickling her.
Pick up the pillow. Oh my God, he's gonna hit her with a pillow. Oh my God, hit her so soft and hard with the pillow.
Oh,
Hit her
God.
soft and hard, but then too soft. And then she doesn't like that. Gail doesn't like it. She wants more, harder.
Oh, Gail.
Now I want Dax to write that full scene.
If I wrote an entire movie, it takes place at a pillow fight.
It's just one escalating tickle
But
pillow
then there's a
fight.
danger element because one of the women has a foam pillow, so it's it's more weaponized.
Yes, that one that's the hypoallergenic member of the crew.
I'm waiting to get the script.
Okay, I
Just
do
send it
have you
over.
playing a very pivotal role.
Am I the pillow?
Is there a thing about Glenn that you kind of latched onto that you like about her? Or is she mentory to you?
She has never taken a wrong turn, and she has such a long career. And I remember seeing Dangerous Liaisons. She broke my brain. There's that moment toward the end when she stands up and she gets like jeered by the audience. Before you could do CGI stuff, you see her through her white makeup, her cheeks really flush red, and it's on camera, which means she started in one thing and then fully flush red within the take. And I remember being like, not scared me, but I just couldn't conceive of your emotions being so powerful that it's physical. I latched onto that of something to strive for, that you're so in it in reality that it's coming out physically.
Yeah, because you can fake crying a bit. There can be, what do they put in? Menthol.
Yeah, menthol
Yeah,
and stuff.
glycerin stuff.
And presumably people can just start crying. But yeah, making your cheeks flush, that would be better than wiggling your ears. That'd be crazy control.
It's crazy control and then crazy out of control all at the same time.
Octavia is an easy pitch. We had Octavia since we've had you, and it was so much fun. Who met Octavia first? You did, yeah, Melissa?
We met her at the same time at Groundlings.
Did you guys have early levels together?
Yeah, we met in lab. So we were writing stuff and Tate was in that class. And that's when we started seeing Octavia.
Octavia would come to watch the shows when we were at the Groundlings, and her laugh was so infectious and crazy because she does have the best laugh in the universe that the shows would go better.
Yeah.
And then we started getting panicky, and we would call Tate and be like, your friend's coming, right? Like, I've got a new sketch to put in. So she started coming more and more and more. And when she was in the audience, she has such a big laugh, but it's not.
It wasn't fake.
It wasn't fake.
But it was
And it just
big.
makes everyone else be like, oh, this is wonderful. So we were like stacking the deck.
Yeah, she rises the whole tide.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all met, I'm not sure since we never had classes
It was like
together.
between levels, right?
God, what year is that?
This would have been mid to late 90s.
I'm just wondering how
Like a
we ended up
97.
all in a group together, yet I don't think I had classes with anybody.
I don't know. And what was it called? The Barry Foot something?
No, we were the House of Floyd.
Oh, House of Floyd.
Weren't we the House of Floyd? Remember we did a show at the Coronet Theater and we had to cancel a show because no one showed up.
Yeah, one guy showed up.
Been there.
And you guys made me go outside to tell him we can't do the show for one person.
Because we were doing this
And
artsy
he
thing of
was
like, well, there's
pissed.
one member of the audience. Do we need to do the show? And Melissa's like, no. We
Then
can
I
just
had to go
tell
out
him.
and tell him, and he wasn't like, oh, I get it. He was like, well, this is ridiculous. I bought a ticket. I'm like, it's a 300-seat audience, and you're the only one. We can't do it. He was so mad at me.
Yeah.
Was it sketch or improv or both?
Sketch.
I think that was sketch.
Yeah.
I can't remember any sketches from that. Did you do your grocery guy?
Yeah, we had a sketch where we fell in love.
That
Yeah,
seems
you were
right.
the grocery guy and you were...
You were doing samples. You were handing out samples.
Weirdly, that's a chestnut I pulled out quite often. I've always been obsessed in real life with people handing out samples at a grocery store, and I think I've written like multiple sketches about it.
Because why? What's their psychology?
I like having surprise snacks. you're around the corner and someone's like, would you like to try this Colby cheese? And I'm like, sure as shit would.
Yeah.
Or like a summer sausage thing. And you're like, I would like a piece of summer sausage.
My dad's weekend was planned around going to Costco on the day where they had many, many samples.
Yeah.
And he got in numerous fights with other people who were either trying to get too many samples or maybe he was trying to get too many samples. He was asked to stop coming to his Costco because he had been in so many dust-ups over the samples.
See?
And
We
I
could
was visiting
connect.
one time. He goes, let's go up to Costco. I'm going to bring you with me. I bet they'll let me in.
Oh my God.
What a wonderful.
Is in.
Was this when you were sort of a celebrity person?
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
when he was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, you'll get me into Costco.
The Costco he
Oh.
had been asked to not.
Of all the wheels you want greased, it's like, can you get
He's
me
like,
into
"Son."
that Costco? I'm banned.
That's wonderful.
That's pretty good.
This is a fun opportunity for me to ask about your guys' original love affair because I was very much in the group. You guys had a secret love affair. Do you remember it being secret?
Clandestine?
It was fairly clandestine, especially you were right there when we just were starting to go out or not.
Yeah, because it was that thing of we were all friends and then you didn't want to be like, well, maybe we've started smooching. We didn't know how to bring it up. And then what if we brought it up and then it went away?
Yeah.
And then I also
Sure.
thought, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work out? Ben's like my best friend. And what if this screws it up? And then Mike McDonald.
He
is the
busted
one.
you or
He
he
busted
urged
us,
He
you?
busted it at the Snake Pit. I think it's still there.
Bar
Maybe
on
on
Melrose
Melrose.
or on-
Yeah,
Like, just
on
to
Melrose.
dive.
Not far from Grandma's.
That's where you went after class.
We would
at
always go there
Brownies.
after class, and Mike McDonald, there's probably like 10 of us around a table, and just would not drop eye contact with me. And literally, he kept looking at Ben and then staring at me. And then he made some rather pornographic hand gestures.
He did.
And he said, I know.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He cornered you.
No, he never moved from the table. So it's like
yeah.
everybody's talking, and he's just like, and I was like, no, I'm not talking to you. And he's like, I know.
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag, guys.
So you've been married for 19 years, but you were together
Yeah,
for how long?
19 to
Tonight.
tomorrow.
Oh
What if
my
your
gosh,
anniversary fell on a tonight?
congratulations.
Is the only anniversary that came in the evening, not at the beginning of the day. Wait, tomorrow's your anniversary?
Yeah, 19 years.
Of wedding.
A wedding, yeah.
We might have a same anniversary, or if not, really close. I'm not sure on our date, but I know it's October.
And how many years?
11 married.
We've been together, what, 26?
Yeah, we dated a while before that.
But were you guys like writing sketches at your house and then
Here we
like
go.
a hand, you know, there's like, oh, my pen, I dropped it.
Oh, wow.
Well, so you're writing your own version
Yeah, I
of
have my
Dax's
own.
pillow
Are
stuff.
you going to go into a pillow fight scenario?
She's going to do a
We
writing
start
session movie.
tickling each other.
We tickled our way into 2 children.
Speaking of tickling, because you did ask, why is that hot? I kind of get why tickling is hot.
Oh, tell me.
Oh.
Because it's like that loss of control.
Ooh,
Oh.
Okay.
A little bit adjacent.
tickling is orgasm adjacent. If someone's truly tickling you, you can't do anything but
Yeah.
be tickled.
Right.
Give it a whirl.
Ben just blacks out. Oh, that did not go as planned.
You have your special feather that you got off of Amazon. Yeah, I wonder if people have ever tried to coordinate that.
Well, David Farrier's movie, Tickled,
you guys ever
incredible
seen that?
documentary.
No.
No, but
Oh.
I've heard about it.
It's creepy.
The
and
premise
it's
was he
sexual.
noticed these videos online, and the premise was like competitive tickling. And then he noticed, well, all the participants are 17 to 19-year-old very buff boys. So that's interesting that they're the only ones that are into this competitive tickling.
You go to like a meet?
You would have a tickle off in a room, and he's like, something stinks here. And he started investigating. It turns out there was this man in New York who was funding all this. And really, he just wanted videos of young athletic boys tickling each
Yikes.
other. And then he spends a great deal of time tracking this man down. And
Yeah.
he's, of course, very weird. And then he starts coming to the screenings of the movies once it gets to Sundance. And there's like a follow-up doc with the guy. Got sued a bunch of times.
I always meant to watch that. I don't know how that came off the list.
It's really good.
It's really good, and it's so
Super creepy.
convoluted. I have some compassion for the guy because he just wants to play around and tickle, but he couldn't allow himself because he's
Does he
older.
participate in the tickling?
I think it's some weird corruption of having a secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he would have liked to have been an openly gay guy in the 80s, and he came into all this money. And then I think not being able to live out that thing, it got obscured into this
Yeah,
weird. That's how
got
he could
perverted.
experience it.
This makes me sad.
It does. And he is a bad guy.
You can be bad and
Good.
No, you can be bad and you can have
sad?
compassion and sad. Yeah.
Okay, back to the writing sessions. Were you guys ever blurring the lines during writing sessions?
I don't think during writing sessions.
you guys kept it really.
I was like, well, this sketch is very important.
Also, I don't know if it really set the mood when one of us was like, I think I come in like this.
And I'll be like this old man. It's like,
What we were doing and what we visually looked like at Groundlings, the fact that somehow that stirred the pot was pretty amazing.
But it was a hotbed for
oh, yeah.
sexual tension, wasn't it?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Oh,
yes.
I was always
really
so
was.
horny and tensed up in class. I think seeing women be hysterical was very hot.
Yeah.
I do.
Humor's hot.
Yeah, you're watching someone be great at the thing they're great at.
That's true.
It's
That's
like
appealing.
attractive. You've gotten out of the way all the normal embarrassment jitters you'd have.
You've already hit rock bottom so fast. When you're in ill-fitting Dockers and, a tube top and a wig not unlike what Ben's wearing right now. Is that a page boy, I think?
I think it's a page boy. Right?
I have the worst admission to make. I thought that was your real hair with a hat on over it, even though I just saw you. And clearly that's not your hair. But now I'm realizing that.
No, it's it. And in fact, pretty
You're
soon...
so hot.
It's so hot.
Are you even with us right now?
I got to take this wig off in a second.
No, I love
honey,
you in that wig.
I know.
I love that it's like a Tony Tennille.
Well, it's
Just a little
so
cup
warm.
under.
What's a Tony Tennille?
Captain
Captain
Tennille.
Tennille, okay.
Just kind of keeping it current.
Okay, so no fornication during the writing sessions, and then it all came out. I do remember learning as a group, but everyone was so excited. That was my recollection when we found out
Really?
you were lovers. Yeah.
Oh.
When you love two people in a group and then they fall in love with each other.
Yeah, there's that old sort of saying, like, don't date people you work with or whatever.
I think it's don't shit where you eat.
Yeah,
is what you're trying to think of.
So I said it my way.
I'm
You say
making
yours.
it up right now.
After I'm like, you know what I did first? But I think that's an unhealthy thing to tell people. Because where are you supposed to go? Where am I supposed to shit?
Yeah, am I right? If the world is a toilet.
He said,
I'm getting
if the world
visuals. I
is my
don't.
sexual toilet, where am I supposed to
If I live and work in a sexual toilet, riddle me this.
I'm so sweaty. I can't.
Yeah, let's get it off. Let's get it off.
Look how much she
What's
was
the
like.
last interview of
She's
your
like,
life?
keep it off.
What a fitting end.
I do have to say, what a way to go.
We started it together and now we're
If that's how he imagines, like, and then he died.
and he died. He never was there for the Peabody Award that Hildy the bartender won.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I want to talk about the fun mutual ride you guys have taken together because it's just very unique. Are you aware of the other couples that came before you? There's like Desi and Desi and there's not a bunch.
Shepard and Bell.
Bell.
Bell Shep.
Shepard.
Also members of the Shit Where You Eat.
Take a big dump where you eat club.
They got into some sexual shit eating, as I recall.
Maybe that should be our club we create together. Shit where you eat club.
I'll make beautiful velvet jackets. It'll be great. Keep it classy. I don't think we ever thought about it. What's really weird is people, they don't anymore, but literally for like the first 15 years, they're like, oh God, how can you work with your husband? Which also
lot of
just
that.
always said so much about the interviewer over a decade of like, really? I mean, you say it's fun, but it has to be excruciating. And I'm like, I'm so sorry your life is so shitty.
How many
Yeah.
times have you walked off set? You're just like, zero.
I mean, hey, I'm directing those things, and the director's not allowed to walk off. It's more an actor's
Yeah.
freedom to pitch a fit.
Speaking of Val, when it was for the boss, literally every single interviewer, they're like, who's the boss between you two?
Oh, wow.
Every time.
Every single question over and over again. You know how junkets can be, and just to get the same question. And they wanted us so badly to say, I fucking hate her. That was what they wanted. And I wouldn't do it because I don't. And so I'd be like, well, the boss is our kids. And they'd be like, okay, next. Like they were
Probably
so
like
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted, by the way, we're not even really fucking married. This is all a sham. Your children are actors. Do you get that?
Yeah, we've had a fair deal of that. But so much of it for me has been where my own self-esteem is at when I'm hearing the question. Like if I'm being dead honest. I used to go on talk shows and they would want to talk about Kristen the whole time. And in my insecure mind, I'd be like, yeah, because they'd way rather be talking to her. And now that I don't feel that way, I'm like, no, that's all you have to talk about. She goes and talks about me and then I go on places and talk about her. And that's just what it is. There's nothing going on beyond that. But there were periods where my insecurity, I would really hear the 12 questions throughout the press junket
that confirmed what I was afraid people thought.
Which is that you're a big nothing and
She's a
great.
big star and I'm a loser.
Sure.
And if she's in my thing, she's doing me a favor. If I'm in her thing, she's doing me a favor.
Yeah.
She's doling out a lot of favors.
Yeah. It's just a one-way favor street. Do you have any of that?
Sure. I don't know. I think I just was always rooting for McCarthy, and we struggled a lot to start in those times, those spicy times that Monica wishes we had a few more stories about. I had no money. I'd go to her house and like awkwardly hang around, and then she'd be like, "Oh, I have a sandwich," and I'd be like, "Oh wow, that's so cool. That's so weird." I mean, I'll have it. I wouldn't even, but so
I'm gonna eat it to be polite.
I'm gonna be
all
polite,
of it,
and
ask
also
if
I
there's
haven't
more.
eaten since yesterday. So
It's nice to start when you're both kind of struggling and you build together.
you know, though, I do remember. So there was one time early in our relationship. One thing that's great about Melissa is she way earlier than me. Like if I pointed something out, a little constructive criticism, instead of just being like, "Hey, fuck off," she would be like, "Okay," if she thought it had merit.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, she takes the note instead of just getting defensive, which is what most people that I knew in our 20s would all do. Like, fuck you don't know. And then later you'd be like, I don't know, what am I doing? But I remember I was like, you don't get it. If you were in a lower place like where I am in my career, you'd understand. And I think she said, well, why on earth would you root for me to get to a place that's harder in my career rather than rooting for yourself to get to a better place? So I, for once, took the note. I was like, oh. And so early on, I was like, who knows what's going to happen with any of us at any point? If you love the person, you love the person, and you're rooting for them the
Same
whole time.
team.
Yeah.
I'm guessing now. Melissa was so, close your ears. Melissa was so way out in front of everybody
Yes.
comedically. There is an objectivity to how we all met where I never had any problem rooting for. I had no illusions in my mind I was as good as Melissa and that I should
That
be
is
somewhere
not true.
Melissa was.
I agree with you. There were only a few people that could do stuff that she could do, and in all the different ways that she could do it. I had no doubts that I myself or yourself or lots of us could go on stage and do stuff that really would work and really would be great. But in terms of someone who is just at that next other level, someone that's just going to make an audience go kind of batshit crazy in a great way, I thought I could maybe help write those things, but I didn't ever think I could execute them as a performer.
Totally. If you and I had a sketch together, we had a pretty good sense that it was going to be 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If Melissa had a sketch that on paper was 2 minutes, it might be 9.5 minutes.
Right, depending on
She
how it
might
goes.
get that fervor going in the audience and all hell might break
I was
loose.
there in the back when she broke her nose on stage trying to make a balloon pop. You ended up doing it on SNL,
Yeah.
the sketch where you got all the balloons. I forget who you ended up hitting on in SNL. Sudeikis?
Yeah,
maybe?
it was Sudeikis.
But she did it
You
at
can't pop
Groundlings
Mylar
first.
balloons, guys.
Yeah, and she tried to pop
I
it, and
learned
she
that
was
on
like,
stage.
the audience was going crazy because they saw that she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And they knew how bad she wanted to do it. And so she would get more and more air. Whoa, bang, whoa, bang.
And then
finally,
I was holding in front of my chest and I just started repeatedly slamming my chest down. And then I was now into the 35, 36, 37. I'm diving on it,
Yes.
I'm punching it.
Oh my God.
And then finally I slammed myself down face first and it did pop. My head bounced off the floor and I was like, oh, I'm blacking out.
yeah, she broke her. And meanwhile, I was not directing that show. I was there just because I had time and I wanted to go see it. It was previews maybe. And so I was in the back. And even though I wasn't the director, I was like, turn the lights off because I knew she was in danger.
Blood was next.
Oh.
But I guarantee you, if I'd have somehow managed to make it happen, she would have never forgiven me. Because she wanted to pop that goddamn balloon.
Yeah. And was there blood?
No, but some kind of weird liquid, which I don't know where that's from.
Sure.
I thought it was blood. So I thought, oh my God, this has got to be scaring people. But once I got to the mirror, it was just all clear.
Oh.
But like
Like
pouring-
saliva poured out of your nose.
Yes, but like a cup of it. And
Like your
people were
brain
still
was
laughing.
leaking.
I know, is it brain matter?
Ooh.
And I was like, boy, they're clapping, but I'm covered in blood. But it wasn't blood. I went to see a plastic surgeon just to be like, do I need to reset it? And he asked me how I did it. And then he just was like, excuse me. And he brought in like 2 or 3 of his nurses. He's like, will you explain what you did again? And I was like, well, this just seems like it's entertaining for you. This isn't medical. And he's like, oh, it's not medical at all.
Yeah. I just wanted to get the story right, and I'm not the best at repeating
I
stories.
think they were
So.
just like, God, that's the dumbest thing we've ever heard.
And for me, too, that weirdly has been helpful with Belle. I can't sing. I don't look like...
Well, she's not a human.
No, she's got too many things she
I'm
does well.
fine with her lane, and I know I have no place in that lane.
But everybody has their own lane.
Yeah. I would take pride in the fact that I was a writer. I'm like, well, I'm a writer. That's something I value a lot when I would think about what my lane is.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
When you hopefully get on a way to a better spot, that is when you're able to be objective and say, oh my gosh, she's amazing at that. Oh my gosh, he's so good at that. And not to say you could never get better, but I'm never going to be a great piano player. There's certain things that you're like, and that's okay.
When you're young, you want all the things. You're watching Glenn Close in that thing, and you're like, well, I need to do that as well.
I think there's a thing coming up when you watch everybody and you so admire it, but also you're like, I guess I have to be able to do all of it.
Yeah, right.
Which is just not how it works. And I think with the little age and experience, you're like, oh, no, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's a magic trick that person can do.
It is comforting to know it does happen to Kristen. So one time we were at a party and we spent the whole night talking with Tina and Amy. And then the next day we went for a walk, and she doesn't mind that I tell the story. We were on a walk in the neighborhood, and she's going, I'm just so not funny. I don't know why I'm allowed to be in these movies. I'm not funny. And I said, well, honey, are you as funny as Tina and Amy? 2 of the 5 funniest people on planet Earth. No, you're not as funny as Tina and Amy. And then yet you can do all this other stuff.
Also funny. It's so different. They do one thing. She's so funny in another way. This business is full of comparison, and it's actually so subjective. It's the one you actually should never be comparing.
Gloria Steinem always says linked, not ranked.
Yeah.
Which is like an incredible thing. We're linked by what we do, but who wins what? Everything's apples to, cantaloupe. It's not the same. We're not supposed to be ranking things like that. That's where it gets so weird.
What I've been impressed with both of you, we just played poker, Ben. It was so fun. If I haven't said publicly, you invited me to poker, and it was all the folks from more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you use
Faxon
the
was
dry
there.
ice machine?
We did bring him in with a fog machine. We did play a little, what did we play for you?
Stranglehold.
Uncle Ted Nugent. Uncle Ted Nugent was playing a little Stranglehold.
Wow.
Good entrance.
Everyone was
exciting.
very excited to
I was
see
catching
him.
up because whenever there's a surprise guest at poker, at Ben's poker game, they have to enter in a fog machine and have some
my
kind
God.
of something.
Yeah, just so there's a little bit of acclaim. I think coming out of COVID, I was like, you know what? People deserve a little applause. It's so good to see you. Let's give them a cool rock star intro.
Let's eventize your existence.
Exactly. And we played for like $20. It's more about just the joy of seeing people after a long time. Some people hadn't seen Dax probably for 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun and it was so heartwarming. We're all still the same and we've all changed, which is interesting. But all that to say, you guys have, in a very, very admirable way, but I can't imagine it's completely without effort or struggle, which is you guys have had the same friendship group the whole ride.
We weirdly met a bunch of people during COVID.
Oh, you did? You guys got real social during COVID?
Yeah. By the way, there's a scam. I'll explain it later. No, we were on a FaceTime call. We were like, let's at least see other faces. So we were like, let's have a cocktail on Friday night.
It was with Banks and Max.
And they were on, and then Liz midway through was like, I'm putting Adam Shankman on. And so he came on, and we were just talking about random stuff. And he's like, I'm going to make a Q&A. And he was just baking all through COVID. And he's like, whoever wins.
Well, first I said, we're going to watch every Oscar movie ever. Because I was going to do the thing where you're like, I'm going to learn a language. I'm going to play piano. So I was like, I'm going to watch every Oscar winning movie that's ever won. Because what else am I doing? How long is this going to last? Best picture.
Best picture.
Best
That's
picture.
what we
only.
started with.
So we started. And of course, Adam, it was before you could go in somebody's house unless you were potted. And so he was like, I'll do like a Q&A. I'll make a trivia night about the movie. And then whoever wins, I will bring you some kind of delicious baked good and leave it outside your house.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was amazing. And then Amy and Darren joined, and it became this
It
thing.
just kept growing and growing. And it was so fun. And people were in different countries, and we would still do it.
Yeah, you guys were in Australia?
Eventually we were.
So you're doing like 8 a.m. cocktails
Yeah,
We're
while
doing
they're-
like coffee, and they're
Well, finally,
having
we
like
were
a
just like, I guess
cocktail.
it'll be coffee. There was one time Steve Mallory was in it too, and he was in Australia with me doing this show. She was in London. Adam was in Ireland. Some people were in LA. Yeah, so it was like 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning.
It started with, we're all on this Zoom call. And then Steve Mallory, who we all know, super funny guy, he joined.
He wrote this thing with us,
Yeah.
by the way.
He's written the 5 movies
most
in
of
some
them.
Most of
capacity. He's
them
been
are-
involved.
or
And well, he and I
parts
wrote
of
this.
them. Yeah.
Part of the easy part of what we did is we basically wrote 2 full movies. Hey, cool.
But it was Lawrence of Arabia. And as we all popped up on Zoom, all of a sudden Steve is in full costume. There was an awkward pause. One by one, people were like, yeah, we'll be right fucking back. And you've got a bunch of like creative people pent up. And it was like, you're making wigs out of toilet paper rolls. And, and then from then on, it was full costumes.
Amy Adams was the
elaborate.
queen, right? For Patton, she was a human
Sherman tank.
and she could move, and it was coming out of her chest plate thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Things got super elaborate. Sometimes I would spend like 30 hours that week just working on a costume. It just went away because we had nothing else
It's
to
like
do.
Sunday Company all over again.
Yeah.
Yep,
You
it
gotta
was.
get your
It
costume
was.
ready.
Did you watch all the movies?
I did.
Wow, that's impressive.
Which one were you like, I have a new appreciation for, and which one were you like, I don't know?
I had not seen Wings, which is the
The
first.
first
How
Oscar-winning movie.
progressive.
It's unbelievable.
There's a romance between these two soldiers.
Male soldiers?
Is there a kiss or just that moment?
There's a moment, I think.
And also the director was a fighter pilot. So the footage in the planes is
So when you see a
insane.
plane go down, it's because they brought a plane down. It was the first visual effects too, because these stunt pilots, these former Air Force guys that had been in, I guess, World War I,
Yeah.
they would jump out of a plane that they put a smoke pack thing in.
Yeah.
And then the one thing you would see is they just tried to erase on the actual film negative. You'd see like a yellow dot as the person theoretically would have been parachuting, hopefully to safety.
Wow.
But yeah, so talk about, you're like a thrill rider.
You're kind of guy who likes to jump out of a
You-
crashing airplane, right?
But yeah, you're like, I wonder how they did that. And it's like, oh, they crashed planes.
Wow.
Yeah.
crazy.
I think my favorite one that either I hadn't appreciated or something, but now I could watch it every day is In the Heat of the Night. Have you seen that one?
incredible.
Sidney Poitier, Rod Steiger.
I haven't seen it. I just know of it. Was that the first thing he won for?
Sidney Poitier did not win. And I was sort of keeping loose track, again, not to rank, but that was one of my favorite performances I've ever seen. And he did not win. He won the year later for something else. Splendor, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner or something. And then ones that didn't hold up,
Patton.
she did not
That
like
wasn't
that.
for
She
you.
got so mad at his eyebrows.
The opening of Patton.
Speech in front of the American flag? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So his face is massive. It looks like, no offense to anyone, because makeup was great by then. There are artists doing it. It just looked like he took 2 tubes of toothpaste and went right over the eyebrows and kind of brushed it in. And I was like, it's a close-up.
Yeah.
It's an extreme close-up.
Made her
And it's-
very angry.
Oh, it made me so mad.
It's probably the HD of it all. Chris and I made the grave mistake of they showed Game of Thrones at IMAX one year in preparation of the new season. And we went and we were like, ooh, the wall. The wall's plastic. The wall's like a set,
Shit.
which you cannot tell on TV. But IMAX, you're like, oh no, now this looks insane.
Oh,
everyone's
and you're just
walking
like, they're
around,
about to-
styrofoam wall.
I'm not scared of a wind walker climbing that plastic thing.
See a zipper.
They can't defend this. Yeah. Is that guy's cell phone in his pocket? Yeah, that was not advisable.
Oh.
Okay, but back to what I was going to say is, has it been challenging at all to navigate? Because I've talked about this a lot on here. I have a real fair amount of survivor's guilt. I've met so many people that were so fucking good at all of this that didn't get to buy a house at the end of it all. And it's really heartbreaking. And in the past, I think I've maybe just ran away from some of those people. That wasn't the easiest road for me to navigate. But you guys, you're still with everyone. Has that been hard at all?
I think sometimes it can be a little tricky, particularly if you think that someone is trying something that is like a tricky path and you have a bunch of advice you would probably tell them, but then you're like, who am I to give anybody advice? And so I never do. So that is the tricky thing, because I also always thought if I can make it to a point where I don't have to wait tables, if I can just do the thing that I'm meant to do, if it's a stage show or whatever, that to me would be enough. And then to get more than that, I was like, that's never the bargain I made with the deities.
Yeah.
I guess I feel guilty or something.
I thought if I could just get a SAG card. And then I was like, man, what if one day I can work enough to have SAG insurance?
Yeah.
I was like, well, just try to get your card. Don't go crazy and expect to get insurance out of this deal. And so sometimes I am just kind of a little bewildered that I get to go to work every day and I love it.
Yeah.
Like I nerdishly still love it. Every time we start a new project, as we're driving to work the first day, we're like, oh my God. I still have that feeling where I'm like, I've got a badge. I get on the lot and I get to go put on
Every
some
time
kind
we
of
get on a lot, we always feel
outfit.
like it's a mistake. Every single time. I'm just like, they're gonna make us leave. Because I remember way back, I talk about how I struggled. So did Mr. Shepard. We would take long walks, and to our shame, we would complain a lot, as I recall. We might walk 4 or 5 miles.
Sure,
Remember
sure,
at
sure.
night, because we had nothing else to do, no kids or anything. So we would also be walking at like 10:30 at night, and you and Tim Lovestead would stop at Cafe 50s and get a giant coffee at like 10 o'clock.
I know I used to drink coffee right up till bed.
Yeah. It wasn't helping us, but we were
I
just like
remember
trying to
you guys taking
commiserate
those
to
monster
say
walks.
maybe someday something will get easier.
Well, a lot of people have heard my CPK story that listen to the show, and people should know that Ben got me the job at California Pizza Kitchen.
huge.
I'm part of the family.
And you were like a beloved staff member.
Oh, no.
And I didn't make it. I didn't make the cut. I was a host for a while.
Because you had to leave for an audition or something, right?
No, remember Dan gave me my review and he gave me a 7 out of 10 for punctuality. And I had been 15 minutes early to every shift.
I don't remember this.
You don't? I sit down for my review and he gives me this. So punctuality 7, that's great. Now appearance. And I go, oh, Dan, I've been 15 minutes early to every shift.
You were always early.
Because I wanted to eat that bread and back. Because your first job was to cut up all the bread on the machine and you could eat half a loaf before anyone knew what was going on. Dip it in barbecue and ranch. Yeah, that was my meal. And I said, well, Dan, I've been so early. How would I get a 10? An hour early? And he goes, well, we just can't start you at a 10 because you got to try to grow and get better.
What?
And I was like, oh, okay. And then he went on to a couple more. And then I just go, Dan, I think I'm going to quit.
Oh my God.
And he goes,
I do not know this story.
You don't know this? So he goes, what? And I go, yeah, that sounds wild. Like if I was early and you're trying to make me more, this feels very like weird and manipulative. I can't. I'm going to quit. And then I left. And then I got a voicemail on my recorder at home and it was Dan. And he said, listen, Dax, I've thought over the punctuality and I'm willing to go to 8. I do remember I'm willing to go to 8. He countered at 8. Not even fucking 9 or 10.
Dan, what are you
And I love Dan. It's not his fault.
Dan was a sweet
He was
manager
a sweet
guy.
man.
Dan,
Very
don't
muscular.
coach
Very
Little League.
muscular
God.
guy, very sweet. He fired me too.
He fired you.
Yeah. Do you know what a secret shopper is?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what a secret shopper is.
Well,
so
let's just tell everyone. Corporate has some employees go visit the restaurant, and you don't know you're waiting on one of these people, and then they give you a review.
Feedback.
right. So I worked at the CPK in Brentwood.
Can we do 1 second on the CPK at Brentwood? I think it's really relevant for the listener.
Yeah.
It's a mid-priced restaurant, but it's in Brentwood where everything's really expensive. So people that come in are expecting a level of service that, frankly, CPK doesn't offer. So they were so mad you couldn't make reservations. I was at the host stand, and I just heard complaint after complaint of how unacceptable it was you can't make a reservation. And I wanted to go, yeah, because a pizza's $9, and that's how it is here. But anyways, I think that's relevant.
It is. People would come and they would come right before a movie at that cinema on Wilshire. I don't even know if it's still there, but that was basically what people would come for. So right before the 7 o'clock movie, place would fill up. Everyone wants everything all at once. And I just got in Secret Shop before and I got like a 97 because they also wanted you to be so specific. Like when you give an appetizer, I wouldn't just say, hey, can I get you an appetizer or something? Are you guys hungry yet? Would you like some delicious spinach artichoke dip or perhaps some hummus? Sometimes they would want you to push liquor during the day.
Oh.
Like, so at 11:45, you're like, would you like a Long Island iced tea or a
Would you like a
spicy
triple
margarita?
shot of wild
People are like,
turkey with
no,
a-
I would not.
with a Budweiser chaser?
Dan, that's real specific, Dan.
So
Can I get you started with 3 shots?
we've got a nice Patron Añejo at 11:45. I think you're going to enjoy that with your half-chopped salad.
What's the rest of
with
your
no
day look like?
salami.
You want to go hard this morning?
So anyway, long story short, they split all the tables apart. So I'm like slammed. I'm in the weeds, as they say. The last table was the secret shoppers.
Oof.
I remember weird questions like, what kind of shrimp are on the shrimp scampi pizza?
Oh.
And I'm like, it's bay shrimp. It's really good. And I got to go because somebody wants iced tea or whatever.
Which, by the way, you've never spoken to anyone that curtly.
No, I was just very busy. And so I was like, I'll be right back. Do you remember the score I got? Because now I can't remember. It was something like a 39 out of 100.
Ooh.
So what CPK would do is they would call, and this is back when you had an answering machine, right? Same as Dax there. So
Tape cassette.
you bzz. And so, hey, Ben, it's Dan. I got to talk to you over at the restaurant, okay? And I knew that that meant when they called you in, they
Yep.
wanted to fire you in person because it was a restaurant started by lawyers. So I call him back and I say, Dan, what's going on? Are you going to fire me?
How long did you work there at that point?
I had worked at the one at Marina Del Rey. I played softball with that Marina Del Rey.
You did?
Oh, you were on the team.
Because I want to play
shit.
softball.
Sure.
So I was really in the culture. I was embedded in CPK. I'd probably been there like 4-ish years, maybe 5. And I go, are you going to fire me? And he goes, yeah. I gotta fire you, Ben. I'm like, well, then I don't want to come in, Dan. I'm not gonna like walk in there so you can fire me in your office. I was like, no. I was like, can you just mail me my check? That would be fine with me. I said, what happened? He goes, you got a 39 on the secret shopper. I was like, it was some other manager had pulled all the tables apart. He goes, yeah, I know.
Oh,
But you got
that
a
feels
39.
unfair.
39. We can't come back from a 39.
No, we can't come back.
Ben.
And I'm still mad about it.
I love 4 years of good service, and because you didn't offer a 9 a.m. Long Island iced tea to someone, and you didn't talk
I didn't talk in detail about the shrimp on the shrimp scampi pizza. That's what I remember they ordered.
Also seems like those secret shoppers were trying to be like the best secret shoppers.
And maybe they didn't know you're going to take this young man's job away. Dan is going to leave him a
That's so
voicemail.
generous. The whole thing boils down to some very subjective person's day they're having when they sit down.
Yeah.
Could they find parking there? Probably not. That place was a zoo.
Yeah, it was tough.
What all happened before they sat down in there and started asking about the shrimp at CPK?
It's like what are your expectations?
I know.
Yeah, it's Gulf shrimp. It came in this morning. I
And it's-
unloaded the pallet.
Yeah.
Just pulled it out of ice.
He was wearing a beautiful outfit. He's dressed like a longshoreman. His name is Dale.
The captain and the longshoreman came.
I spoke to them for a while, but not too long because they had a busy day, as do I. It's fucking
your
shrimp
Long
in a
Island iced
bag.
tea.
They're individual bags of shrimp.
All right, now I bring back what we started talking about before you sat down, which is the notion of retirement. Would you be any good at it? Your hunch, Ben, was that it won't be easy.
I don't think it'll take for me because I do have to kind of write every day. I'll write whether it's going to get made into something or not.
Yes.
So I guess I could be retired. It's just a question of if anyone's buying what I'm selling or not.
Would you just return to prose, though, maybe?
Maybe. What do you like writing better?
I declared I'm done writing scripts like 7 years ago. I had
too
a couple
bad.
scripts I owed. I'm like, I'm just done with this. I can't stand it anymore. And then I started writing for fun again. And then I just started writing prose. And now I'm kind of writing a memoir. But I'll just write for fun. And I'm like, oh, I remember this. Writing because you like constructing sentences is fun. The math of it, the puzzle of it.
It's satisfying.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever stop writing. But anyways, all that to say, I said I think I'll do fine with it because we had 9 years of practice. You and I have been retired.
Of being unemployed. We were retired in our 20s.
Yes. So it's like you go to the
Reverse
promenade and watch a film, the
Yep.
cheap showing at the AMC 7. You knew where to go get a cheap slice of pizza, bike rides on the Strand. I
Sure.
knew how to fill up a day. I think I learned that, and some people don't ever learn that.
Well, now that you've got access to all those cars that you always were so hot and heavy for,
Sure.
that'll do it.
I don't like them all as much as I thought I was gonna.
What?
I mean, I really like them, but I don't find that I'm driving around in them a ton.
Do you like to still take them apart and put
I
them
like
back
to
together?
buy them. I like to look at them and have a big fantasy about them, and then I like to put them in my garage.
You had
and
to
then I
buy
like
a
to
new
have them break
garage for that.
and then worry about what needs fixing. And sometimes dream that the whole garage catches on fire and it all goes away.
So this is no longer...
But I still love it.
Okay, so you love it.
Yeah. I'm just not sure how much of my day it's going to take up.
You never drive your old one.
There you go.
I know.
You've got a
The
nice
Ranchero.
Ranchero.
Yeah, it's
Got a
cool.
Ranchero.
And you pulled a fast one, right? That was a
Yep.
very sweet move.
It was Dan Aykroyd's car in Tammy, and I brought it back from North Carolina for your 40th?
40th.
I like driving it. I mean, not me driving it, but I like driving it with you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we stumbled upon a real sore
No.
subject.
Now I'm wondering because it's up at the beach, and I'm just wondering if I know how to start it.
That's where you went in your
Because
mind.
I'm the opposite. Like, you're good with all that stuff. If you pull out this car, automatically just people appear. They've got tank tops on and maybe a tattoo on their arm. Like, well, what do you got under the hood there? And I'm like, I have no idea, sir. I don't know.
My wife quilted the leather.
But dude, look at the interior. It's really neat.
Well, what was both of your cars? Like his was cars, what were yours? If I had this level of success or money, I want this.
I like housey stuff. Anything to do with design. I'm constantly working on building a nest.
Yeah, me too.
I just love it. Even when I was a kid, to my parents, I'd be like, if we knocked this wall out, it would open. They're
Yeah,
like,
she
"We've
would
wrecked
take this
house.
place down
You're
to
out of your
studs."
mind." I love the whole construction process.
Yeah, you love a remodel.
I
hate-
love
I
a
hate it so
remodel, and
much.
he hates it.
Never, ever has anyone said, oh, we can do this. It's easier than we thought. It's cheaper than we thought. It's going to be a little faster than we thought. It used to be double the price. Now it's like, let's just triple it.
For us, it was like, let's four times
let's
it.
for it.
Let's 3x the timeline. Has that changed? Because you started early. You have always been a house flipper. That first yellow one,
Yeah.
you did a real number on and made it super cute.
And that one, I think what got me is that was my first house. I loved that house in Los Feliz. And then everything was easy. It was so filthy. It was built in 1912. It was so pretty, but it was just like dirty plates on the floor, garbage everywhere, open food. One of the open houses, we were standing in a bedroom and I was like, oh my God, because I couldn't even fathom, can I really get this place? And we were in there for maybe 20 minutes, just talking. I was there with a friend. There was mattresses all over the floor. And then 20 minutes in, someone rolled over in bed and they had been in there sleeping
Oh, no.
the whole time.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
no. So this was like a den.
Some of the doorways, there was like plywood over it and painted. But the more I was in there, because I was so in love with this house, I was like, it's just dirty. I can clean. None of the moldings are changed. They just weirdly put plywood over it. So I started going to all the open houses, every single one. And the realtor was like, you can't do this. And I was like, it's an open house.
Yeah.
And there's people, sometimes they would walk in 3-4 feet and just turn around and leave because it was so dirty.
That's your sweet
Yeah.
spot.
And then if they did come in, that's where I would just, oh, I'm on the tour too. And I'm like, you can't clean this kind of filth.
Yeah.
I said a lot of things like, this is in the walls.
Yeah.
This is in the walls.
This house has bad bones.
Yeah. And everything went super easy. And it really was like, oh, yeah, we just kicked down the plywood. And it was beautiful underneath it.
She's always thought every
I'm
other one
chasing
would be
that.
that easy.
That first high.
Oh, and some of the other ones, there was stuff in the walls.
Just absolute shit
Yeah.
shacks.
Yeah, Swiss cheese, the whole house.
They're like, oh, it's got to come down,
It was, I remember
including the studs.
one time hearing like, we knew about the asbestos, but the black mold we didn't know about. And I was like,
Have you ever just immediately sold, like bought it? And actually, we can't.
We did do that one time because we
'Cause it
got
was too
into
much.
it. And I was like, oh,
and then we were about to travel and I was like, honey, can we just say that this one was a
Mercy.
miss?
and we
Yeah.
did. We just sold it right away. And I was so shocked. I was like, whew. We just swapped out. We were like, we bought it, and then we sold it. And we're like, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Go.
Yeah.
The place you're in now, do you think you'll stay? Or does Mama itchy?
I think even the girls, our girls are like, you won't sell this, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think we'll stay, right? I mean,
I think we'll stay there.
it's possible we
I don't believe her at all.
I don't.
I think so.
I don't know. That really feels like our home.
So how old are Lincoln and Delta now?
9 and 11.
9-11. Okay, so ours are 17 and 14. Viv is going to be at college somewhere next year.
Oh my God.
I know, which is so crazy.
Man.
But obviously, there's some stuff we do here, work, but we've lived in LA for a long time too. So even LA is a little bit up for grabs, and that freaks the girls out. Even
Yeah.
if they don't think they want to, they just want us to be where we
They
are.
want you to stay unchanged.
Yes, I don't care what it is I'm doing, but I want you two to be right here.
Yes.
Right,
They
so
want
like
a home
once a
base.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Monica's the
relate.
worst offender
I'm
of that.
so bad.
Really?
Yeah, I was just home this past weekend, and my brother took a long time to leave the house, and it is the first time that I was back that he's permanently out, and I was like, well, this is unacceptable, actually.
Oh, you wanted Neil to be there.
You wanted your
It
brother to
sucked.
be there.
Yeah. And I've also been, I'm like, you got to get out of here. I've been saying that for years, and now he's gone, and it's like, my life is ruined.
And how often do you go home?
Like a couple times a year.
Perfect. So you want him just to stay there
Yeah, he's got to stay.
for that Thursday through Sunday?
That's right. That 3-day trip. Yeah, it was weird. It's weird when your foundation is changing.
I don't like that. When he wrote, what's it?
Life of the Party.
Hi. I just fell asleep.
Do you want me to?
I was like,
2018, Life of the Party.
When Ben came down in the morning and was like, oh, I have this idea for something, I took it very literally. I was like, that is such an amazing idea to go to school because I didn't finish college. And I was like, oh my God, when Viv goes to school, I should go to college with her. And he's like, this is a cautionary tale. And Viv was like, no, wait. What are we talking about? And I was like, I can finish college when you go to college. And he just kept saying, no, the comedy of it is that's a terrible idea. And I literally was like, I don't see I think it's a great idea.
And
And
then
I
she
still
like
kind of am like,
looked
I
at
still
like the
haven't
first
finished
like
college.
pieces. She's like, I just think it's lovely and heartwarming. I'm like, it's supposed to be just funny.
Okay, I do want to. You already said you love it, and I do too. And I wonder. Obviously, you guys started writing and performing together, so it makes a lot more sense for both of you. But do you think also this is the thing I like about working together is it's just a lot of compromise. You want to eat somewhere, and you want to eat somewhere different. You want to watch something, you maybe want to watch something. When you work together, I think it's this unique time where you have the same goal, which is really kind of hard to have as a couple, the exact same goal.
It is because also I always call it like the red and yellow. Like if you want yellow, I want blue. And then we're like, oh, ooh, but purple. that it's a constant improvement. It starts okay, and then instead of like a fight or a battle, there's some kind of fun puzzle working that I find so satisfying and so fun. But it's never about like, it's my way or his way.
It's like how to take the good thing out of your idea and the good thing from my idea.
This new creation's better than either one of us could have done.
And there's also a certain thing where people say, oh, what's it like working with your wife? And it's every day in certain ways, because part of what we do is for fun. It's how we communicate. We're writing another movie that we want to film soon. And on the way over here, we'd just gotten into all this madness, and she's the ringleader of all that. And I'm like, honey, it was more things than possible.
On the drive, Ben goes, I just wonder if the hat's one too many.
And she's like,
we're 100 too many.
She's like, that's the whole point. But then she pitched a really quick bit for the movie that was so funny that I'm like, oh, yeah, we absolutely should put that in the movie. I read a thing in the LA Times a long time ago about these two physicists that work together. Because for some reason, I was reading the obituaries.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so it was
That's
about
kinky.
It was about these two physicists, and one of them passed away, and they called themselves the Mosquito and the Battleship. The reason they work so well together is because one of them had 40,000 different mathematical ideas about science and things that I don't understand. And the other one was like, yes, but this is also the solution we're trying to get to. So I always think of Melissa and myself that way, where she's got 5,000 good ideas. I got one bad one, but I'm going to stick to it. And we're going to land the plane. I think it's kind of a good match that way.
Yes, stick-to-itness.
And also,
Yeah.
I say stupid half thoughts that will not become a movie. What I said in the car, Hungry Eyes came on.
Eric Carmen.
Really quick, hit me. I want to...
Hungry eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the words.
But all I say is, I was like, the thing we're writing now, what if every time Andrew Friedman starts to eat chicken wings, that song comes on? And it happens repeatedly through the movie, and it slightly goes to slow motion. Oh, I think it's up here on the left. And then that's all I've got. He makes a full movie out of my random scatological thoughts.
But I mean, how much fun to have somebody that's just pitching bits. I have a question for you. Why did we stop writing scripts? You're very good at it. Was it the notes process? Was it the structure process that started to bum you out?
Structure sucks. I hate structure, always. And some frustration that you relearn your structure notes every single time you write something. It's just maddening that you don't start there.
A million times I've thought to myself, you've gotten all of these notes before. They were correct before. A scene where two people are just talking about nothing. You've been in the cutting room before. And then sure enough, sure as shit, you look, you're like, so page 30 to 39 is frog shit nothing.
Yeah, it's that. Notes is rough. It's always feeling like you have homework due everywhere you're at. I would notice Chris and I are on vacation, and she's on vacation, but I'm like, I have two things due. At some point, I was like, okay, it's been 15 years of having homework, and I just don't want it again.
Great.
Yeah.
Fair.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, of the 5 features you guys have made together, Tammy the Boss, Life of the Party, Super Intelligent, Thunder Force, is one, and let me just say, we always think about when I get to show our girls Hit and Run, because it was our kind of baby, that movie. It was $1 million and impossible to make, and that movie means so much in so many weird ways. Do you guys have a favorite of these 5 that are so special to you?
I love them all. Tammy, for the same reason. I just remember pulling onto the set, and we were like, look at all these people. Couldn't believe we got to write a movie. Couldn't believe then Ben was directing it. Like, it was a bit of a fugue
Didn't know what
state.
I was doing very much, because you're learning.
Yeah.
Any first-time director, prepared as much as you can. And we had wonderful producers helping us, giving us great advice. But that feeling of just learning on the fly, knowing that I need to get coverage, but like,
What does that mean? Also, you were always saying, like, I don't know. I'm aware I have to do something. Someone smarter, explain how to do that.
so I was smart enough to know what I didn't know. I love Tammy for that. I have this weird thing, because I go through post. You watch your movie 100 million times, as you know. So I don't watch a movie until at least 5 years after we've released it. I haven't seen Thunder Force. We're getting close. Well, no, because it came out, I guess, in 21. But we shot it in 2019. I just recently saw Life of the Party. What I like about that, especially today, is it is just a movie that's supposed to be funny. She's really funny throughout the whole freaking movie. The women are great in it. And it was maybe the most fun just to film, because Everybody's like, you sure you want to get a bunch of women in their 20s? Probably going to be bitches. You know, they're literally all that
Everybody,
stuff.
oh boy, that's
Oh,
gonna.
boy.
I'm like, that was the most
What the
joyful.
People aren't going to leave their room and they're going to want to wear prettier shit or whatever.
Oh, Jesus.
That's the same person that's like, oh, tickle, tickle, tickle.
But I love that movie for shooting it. All of them are different vibes, but that movie is just not trying too hard. It's just trying to tell this little story. And it's literally like, we're going to put her in a lot of funny situations. Hopefully they're going to work. I saw it recently and I enjoyed it.
Now, how do you get the idea to do Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire? Are you guys Game of Thrones people? Did you love Game of Thrones?
I did.
I did. Then it got too rough.
For you, Ben.
When-
When
gentle.
here's what happened to me. Were you a big one too? Big Game of Thrones? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was huge into it. I loved it. It was on Sunday nights, right? It was back before streaming was really, so you kind of had to tune into HBO.
You had to
Yep.
watch it.
Yeah. So I'm super into the show, especially because I got in after that sort of more awkward first season where it was like, we're the sexy show.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But then there was the part where Pedro Pascal gets in the show
Yes.
and he's amazing. And then he does all this stuff and he's been so honorable. And he starts walking around the guy and doing this monologue. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what's going to happen. And then it was just this crazy, awful visual. I'm no good with horror stuff. So when he gets his eyes squished
that's
out,
when he crushed his
mountain
head.
crushes his head and squishes his eyeballs shoot out of his head.
Surely.
And I was horrified, but also I felt manipulated.
Oh,
So that was kind
betrayed?
of, I felt betrayed.
It rattled you.
Now you're not being truthful to the character. I thought that they went for gore instead of,
Truth.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought the show was incredible. And also, if I just weren't so scared of everything, I probably would have kept watching.
And then you stopped after that.
I did.
Are you guys going to see The Substance?
I've heard The Substance is really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good, and it's apparently very gory.
Oh, he
No.
will not be seeing
So
it.
then-
I
That's
don't
a
know
no
what
for
the
you.
substance is.
It's a new Demi Moore movie.
Vehicle?
Oh, yes. Oh, I heard it's very good.
Yes, and it apparently has tons of pop outs.
Oh, okay.
What's a pop out?
A pop out is,
Oh,
In
the jump,
horror.
jump
Oh,
scare,
like a jump
whatever.
scare.
Okay.
Oh, jump scare.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a new
Yeah,
one.
it's
Good. Jump
proprietary.
scare.
No, jump scare is what
That's standard?
everyone
Like the
says, and we say
OG.
pop
Oh,
out.
oh, okay.
So it's like a plastic surgery type thing. Like she's trying to get youthful. And I don't know all the deets, but apparently someone had a heart attack and a seizure.
In the
Jeez.
in the
Watching
screen.
it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's terrible.
Isn't that funny? That makes you want to run out and see it.
Not me. I was like, I can't see
oh,
it. I got
'cause the
scared. Yeah, I'm
seizures. Okay.
scared.
Is there a lot of
scared.
is there a lot of strobe light in the film?
No, I think they just got so scared.
Oh my god.
I know.
Then they'll do commercials about it. Remember all the commercials that would be like, people were so scared they passed out. Remember that
Under
used to be
no
a whole thing?
circumstance, see this film on March 19th.
Yes.
3 p.m., 3:30, 3:35. I think I could watch all of that stuff before kids. And now I start to have weird dreams where my kids are now part of it. And I was like, ooh. So I can watch a lot more than Ben can.
The whole family can. So I'm the one who's like, what's going on in there? What, are we still watching it? It's fine if you are.
Are you knitting when this happens? The other
Getting
girl.
everybody a wool hat.
Earplugs.
I'm a huge Tolkien person. That was where all this Barback business. So Steve Mallory pitched it to me because he knew how much I was into it. And he was like, women in the movies, which they are, I think, really good movies, they don't do a lot. You've got Galadriel, who is super powerful and doesn't take the ring, but then gives everyone a powerful gift.
Oh.
The action of it is never
Yeah, it's
female
usually
based.
not, what's her name? The one who stabs the Witch King of Agmar in the face.
This is all Lord of the Rings.
This is all,
Yeah.
So it's more, I grew up reading that.
You've had a lot of sketches over the years that I've seen that have this leaning.
D&D, nerd guy stuff. Yes,
Old
for
English
sure.
speak a little
sure.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mallory said, what if?
He said, what if we do something that is just a straight up comedy? We get the funny women we know to be the heroes when the men fuck everything up inevitably. And I was like, well, that feels like a story for today.
That feels timely.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's taken a while because, as you said, it's not an easy one. We weren't like, oh, we're just going to pick up things and do. I mean, I know you do tons of research, but I think a lot of people just sort of come on and don't do much. You know, but we were like, oh, we're going to do the
Like
opposite.
they built a world, there's a map.
Yeah.
Like they started with the map, and I was like, okay, this sounds kind of amazing.
Yeah, and there's 8. How long are the
8,
episodes?
30 minutes ish.
Yeah.
Fun.
We're working
They're
on a
writing
second
the second
season too.
season.
Set the scene for us. Of course, McCarthy's playing Hildy, and you're a barback.
I'm a barback, and I do all of the work. It's our father's tavern that, of course, has been given to my brother, Fennec, who Steve Mallory plays. even though he's a complete imbecile. But they're like, well, women can't own property. So
Yeah.
I do all the work and I'm not allowed to own it.
And he strolls in and offers everyone free drinks every now and then.
Yeah.
And fucks everything up.
Trying to be cool. So what happens is in the first, as in all of these stories, there's some sort of inciting incident, which is that we learn that a bunch of the bad people,
What are they called?
they're called moralists, and they're coming across the countryside and they're coming straight for the village. Hildy tries to convince them to use magic and different things to figure out a way to, like, what do they want? Where are they going? Maybe we could escape. And the guys of the village are like, sometimes you got to put some armor on and kick some ass. And they go straight at the things, and a dragon incinerates them all immediately.
annihilated.
So it ends up that Hildy and her ragtag group of friends have to defeat this sort of incursion and then also figure out what the hell is going on.
Who plays the potions person?
Mirabelle is played by a really great actor named Anna Scotney. She lives in New Zealand.
Oh, she's a Kiwi.
Yeah. she's
Oh, I thought it was an
amazing.
Aussie. They're going to be so mad. But she's incredible.
Isn't she
She's
great? She's
incredible.
such a great actor.
Was she already a friend?
She worked with us on God's Favorite Idiot. When we were in Australia, she came over from New Zealand.
I saw her in, I'm spacing on the name of it, but one of Taika's movies. And I was like, who is it? Like when you just see someone and you're like, who is this human?
Yeah.
Like she's
She
so
can do
good.
anything.
Was it Hunt for the Wilder People?
No.
It was one where she played like a super tough
Yeah.
gal.
We'll
Oh my
find
God,
it
I
in
can
the
see
back.
it. I can see it, but I can't think of the name of it.
My actor like that right now is Walton Goggins. What can this guy not do? Did you guys watch Fallout by chance?
I loved it.
You saw it.
I loved Fallout.
Too much for
Is
Ben.
it scary?
No, I think you could watch it.
Is it scary?
Did you
I
see
think
that?
you
She
can
goes,
watch
she
it.
gently held my hand and goes, I think you could watch it, honey.
You
That's
have
my
to watch
house.
everything first, like a child, and then
Yeah.
And I just
And
know
my
certain
kids, too.
things. He gets upset. It's
I'm a
lovely.
fragile flower.
Yeah,
it's
too
really
gentle.
sweet, Ben.
I just
I
can't.
like that
That's
about
There's
you.
too many
really
bad things in the
nice.
world.
Okay, so you wrote it all. How long does it take to record it? Who's producing it? It turned out so good because this is
Thanks.
not a realm you were ever in.
We're learning kind of as we go. So we recorded it at our office. Steve Mallory taught himself how to use a program of a thing so that we
Which is
could
very
record
him.
it in a way.
He's
that-
very competent.
Right. He's
Yes.
very
Mallory.
technically competent, and he sort of loves that wormhole stuff where I'm like, I'm tired.
I'm scared.
And then Damon Jones, who you know.
Yes, also at poker.
Yep, he's been writing all the songs as well.
Yeah, there's an original song in each.
Oh
Each one
my
has an
God,
original
you
song.
I know
guys.
where it is.
So the first one, it's Why Would You Ever Fuck With a Dragon is the song. There's funny, crazy songs he's written. And then we just sort of said, well, hey, Damon, what would happen if you started editing them? So he edited one. Candace Brown edited one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mallory edited the first one.
The whole team.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
amazing just to bring the family together and see who can do what and pitch in.
I would imagine at first glance, you're like, oh, this is a great world in which we could try an idea. We wouldn't try to pitch to a studio. We can execute something and then come to find out it's as much work. That's my guess.
Yeah, this would be such an expensive movie to make. Who knows what anybody wants at any time, but it's just hard to sell a really expensive comedy with giant high concepts. So we're like, you know what if we do it in such a way that's easier? And then we found out, yeah, it's a lot to do it poorly would have been pretty easy.
You need a lot of Foley. You need a lot of
Yeah.
like stuff
All
going
of that to be
on.
like, oh, wait, we have to figure out what kind of hooves do we want to
Right.
hear.
And we are used to studios being behind us and having access to fact checks, legal things. And then you're like, oh, who's doing? Oh, that's me.
That's us too.
That's me.
Uh-oh.
Okay, cool.
All the creative and that stuff.
But then people would come in, like Mike Hitchcock comes in, and it's just so stupid.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
you're like, oh my God, we've known this person forever. They're that funny. It's just nonsense. And then one after the next, it would be so fun doing the sessions that even with all the work so far, I think anybody who's been killed in the first season, they all come back second season as their twin.
If we really love somebody's
like-
performance, you're like, all right, you're going to come back as your own twin.
People, but they're too
Twin.
good. So I'm like, well, Hitchcock has to come back.
No, Hitchcock stays alive. So
Oh,
he
he
can
does
just be
stay
himself.
alive.
He's a wannabe wizard.
How fun, you
stupid.
guys.
Yeah. I think everyone's in an interesting phase. I guess here's my question. I've got to ask it to a few people. Do you lament what's happening at comedy, or do you go, oh my God, thank God that we got to do it in a version that we grew up watching? Like, you guys got to go make good budget comedies
Yeah.
for a long time. And are you just in the lamenting phase, or are you in the like, oh my God, we got in before it was almost impossible.
I think it has to come back. I think the world needs it. I can't do anything important. I can't clean up the air. I can't fix climate. I just know how to do stupid things to maybe make people forget that the air needs to be cleaned up. And I just think the narrative is being sold that they don't work. And yet I'm stopped 15 times a day where people are like, I need to come home from my difficult job and I need to watch you make an ass of yourself. I'm like,
break your nose,
you got it. That's
pop in a
all I
balloon.
can do.
Yeah.
And I really think things are cyclical. I think people need them, people want them. And like anything, you can start to make a narrative of what is. It doesn't mean it's true. I think we'll circle back.
I would say like grateful, but greedy. We'll do stuff like we're doing this thing. Who knows what it could be someday? Somebody may go like, now that we know that it works, we can do a version of that in
For
some
sure.
way or other. And meanwhile, we're working on other stuff where she's pitching me jokes in the car. I dare to say I think we'll do some more stuff. And now, will the budgets be what they were? Probably not for a while until the next one works.
I really want to be part of getting people back in the theaters, not to be like, oh, it's in service of, but there's a weird thing that happens when you sit with a bunch of strangers and you have a collective experience.
Especially laughing together.
Laughing together,
Absolutely.
feeling for
Getting pissed
someone.
together is really popular.
That's easy to do, but laughing together or rooting for somebody together, I think did more for us as humans than we give credit to.
Yeah.
And I
I
think we
agree.
trained people to stop doing it. It went pretty quickly, but it was strategically done. And I remember being like, why are you training people to stop needing your wares?
Yeah.
And I think you can get it back.
There have been a couple jokes that I remember that we did. Like in Tammy, she's a conservative woman to me. Like I was there writing the character, but I still fully want to hang out with Tammy.
Yeah.
And I think that whole thing, our culture, our country, you know, especially people online and the internet, they're so against each other and angry with each other all the time. And I think there's something about having Tammy say a joke like, oh man, gas prices are so high. Thanks, Obamacare. So the audience, I remember being at so
It
many
was the
screenings.
weirdest laugh.
There would be this big laugh and then there would be a really big second laugh. And then still at the end, people are like, should I be offended? Who's she making
half
fun
the
of?
audience laughed because they're like, fucking Obama. And then the other half was like, oh my God, she's an idiot. That's not Obama. It was the weirdest split laugh. And
Yeah.
every time it was consistent. And it was like, okay, that worked.
Yeah,
on
that's
two
great.
weird ways to different people.
We're sort
and
of
they all
offending
laughed.
everybody
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
at
yeah,
once,
yeah.
but in a very loving, prodding way. Critics or whoever can think our movies can be a little too heartwarming or a little too physical, but we're actually trying to not get people to sit back on their couch and go, that was clever. With a little wry
Right.
grin. We're trying to get people to laugh hard. We test them to try to make sure they really do it. And sometimes to do it, you got to fall down some fucking stairs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Send
You
her
know,
down.
Literally.
Send her
Sometimes
down.
literally.
What's great about this one, she's like, I should fall down some more stairs.
Do you have any chronic injuries?
Oh, yeah.
You've been hard on yourself.
Stunt women would be like, you should not be doing it. And I'm like, I love it. I really did love it. And they're like, yeah, but the thing is, you're going to get around 50 and you're going to be an old beat up stunt woman.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like my hips are crazy.
Have you started hanging out with NFL retirees? Because you guys really,
This meniscus is still ripped out at the root. It's been like 7 years.
yeah.
I've just got weird things where I'm like, oh, this is what they meant. But then still, if we go to do something again, I'll be like, no, I have gotten better. But now with anything up on wires, I love. It's literally
Oh, you
my
do?
happiest place on the planet.
So Thunder Force, she loves.
Because I was just like,
you know, she's
me up
superhero
here,
jumping
spinning
around.
and turning and flipping.
Oh, you love it.
I love it. I love
I don't
it.
like the harness. I
Right.
don't mind being up, but it hurts
It
to
hurts
be in the
the-
harness.
You have to have it so tight,
Did it
it's
hurt your
killing
penis
you.
and testicles?
Yeah,
It hurt
it's
my
like it hurts.
penis quite a bit. No, the trick is if it's so tight that you can't stand it when you're on the ground, then when you go up,
It's nice.
Did you hear the part he said about the penis
about
and
the penis
testicles?
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
testicles.
it's just a little different for the fellas. If it's in the wrong place,
And then
it's
you're
rough.
constantly on set. I am at least pulling out all
Yeah,
the stuff.
pulling your
like
stuff, and you're
constantly
like,
freeing a
"Sorry."
testicle from one of the straps. Yeah, and you're in
Sorry,
spandex.
please don't. And everybody's job is to look at you really closely. That's literally my job is to look at Dax's midsection.
How much of his dick and balls are visible in this nude-colored spandex shorts he's wearing? I'm blown away that the appetite is still thriving.
To make stuff,
Yeah.
I love it. Especially when it just comes up. Literally, we're like cooking or something, and then just a song comes on or like a stupid bit, a lot of times in the car, we start to build the stupid world, the thing we're working on. I got so excited because I'm like, oh my God, I know she wears Wranglers.
Right.
That was all I needed to be like, oh my God.
Yeah, someone asked you in an interview I watched this morning that was like, how do you get into this or that character? And you're like, wig is step one.
The wig does all
now,
my
you're
work.
in your real hair, right?
This is
I
my
haven't
real
completely
hair.
misstrued.
I've been
that a
bald for
lace front?
17 years.
Oh my God. What a reveal that would be since I've known you.
Oh,
Or you have a little mohawk or something.
just a little treat under
Yeah,
there.
little-
We just call it patchy. God, I love a wig.
So going forward, we're going to keep pushing for movies, live experience.
Yes.
We are, yeah.
There's so much dark. It's like anything that leans towards something joyful and funny. And also, you got to fuck stuff up. You got to make fun of people in a certain way because at some point you're going to be the one made fun of. And you have to be able to be like, yeah, I am like that. I'm an ass. But everybody's kind of getting made fun of. Everybody's trying to pick teams so much. It's so boring and it gets us nowhere.
Well, I adore you guys.
Right
I'm
back
really
at
glad
you.
that we've all stayed in touch.
I
I
know.
had so much fun at poker the other night,
You're on the list, as you know. I put him on the email list. He wanted it to be official.
and I was sadly out of town last week, but it got canceled.
It got
I was
canceled,
so happy
yeah.
to find out.
Yeah.
I'm sad for you guys and happy for me I didn't miss
We'll
it.
do it again shortly, but he can only be the surprise guest once, so there won't be a fog machine.
That's fine. I was nervous about the end. It had been a long time since I had performed.
He was great. There were a lot of fist pumps.
Yeah. When in doubt,
He came in
get
hot.
physical.
There's a lot of pieces to it because you're trying to keep somebody in that sort of back room, and so he has to also do.
I have to operate the smoke
He had,
machine.
he had to operate the
Oh
smoke
my.
machine
Do your
because I
own
don't have
sack?
like a
Sure, you don't have-
You're your
I
own
don't have
Have an
roadies.
attendant.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to cue me,
No, so I
really.
start playing the music loud enough that I think he can hear it, and I'm like, it's time, and he's like, let's do it. He came
Oh
out.
my
he
God.
was-
You know what I love? You've continued to be at the Groundlings your whole life. It's so impressive and
I
so
know.
awesome.
I'm very
I love
jealous
it.
of it. It's so great. I guess
love
that's just
it.
my last question. I say this all the time. It's been so fun, the ride, but it didn't ever get better for me than the Sunday Company. If I'm measuring
magic.
fun and
Yeah.
like the right reasons and no expectations,
And that crazy schedule that you couldn't get comfy.
no.
And then you get used to that. And also, you make so many mistakes that probably the healthiest thing I've ever done is I bombed enough so quickly that I was like, ah, and I just stopped caring. And you're like, you're going to fall on your face repeatedly and often. And that's what Sunday Company. And then to watch everybody else just be like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Of course you're going to bomb.
Well, actually, I would say that my funnest memories are
the
all
bombs.
of bombs.
Yes. Even if it's so skeevy at that moment, but later,
You walk off stage in the dark and then you get in the green room and you turn and you look at each other to acknowledge how bad it is. That exact moment for me is the funnest feeling of my whole existence.
yeah.
Just a real dunk of
And you
shame.
go, oh my
they didn't laugh once.
that was terrible.
And there's different kinds. It's like sometimes they just weren't getting it. And then other times you were like, I was palpably hated. Like, not only do they not like what I'm selling, they're angry at me and they strongly
They
dislike
didn't like the product and they did not like the delivery
No,
device
they
of
did
the
not
product
like-
even more than they didn't like the product. Oh, it's so fun. All right, well, I adore you guys. I hope everyone listens to Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. I listened to it. It's so well done. I can't believe that's your first foray into this. It's really, really well executed.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for putting on costumes with us.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks for eventizing.
I'm going to go to Trader Joe's now. I want to go shopping.
Amazing.
The last thing they said to her, they're like, you don't have to go to the bathroom, do you? This thing, how does that happen?
You're going to have to cut the back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to claw my way out of it.
Hulk Hogan style. All right, love you guys.
Love you guys.
Stay tuned for the fact check so you can hear all the facts that were wrong.
We're in the dog days of warmth. I just looked at the calendar ahead. Next Tuesday, it stops.
Really?
Or it begins, however you want to look at it. Fall will be here.
Oh.
It'll be in the 60s.
Phew.
Oh, good. Phew.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You like your heat, though, but you're on foot. Is that why you're not liking
I
it?
like sweaters.
Oh, yeah.
I love sweaters. And yeah, I've been hot lately for my wogs.
Yeah, because your car is being fixed.
It's fixed.
It's fixed.
It arrived today.
You saw it?
I just saw it.
How's it look?
Great.
It does.
It looks great. You're not going to believe it.
Okay, let's tell people this story. Let's just say that you had a little incident with a pole,
I did.
Passenger rear door, and it's pretty demolished. And you took it
Didn't look good.
for an estimate somewhere to get fixed. And what was the estimate?
$10,000.
$10,000, right. And so I said, hey, I got a great guy like in the Valley, Louis, who I found through Tyler, who's fixed my shit all the time. He's fixed the back of the I have ruined the tailgate of my pickup truck 3 full times with the trailer where the fuel tank on back crushed the... I've always found him so affordable. So I asked him, I put you on a chain. I said, can you help my friend Monica?
Yeah.
All right, so original estimate was $10,000. And what was his estimate?
$650.
It's like you either time traveled to get it done or you took it to some other country.
I was shocked when I got that number. And then I thought, well, there's no way. Probably once he gets in there, he's going to be like, this is more than 650. But even still, I was like, even if it's double that, it's
If
so
it's
much.
quadruple that, it's still less than half of what the other.
Exactly.
Even when I heard that estimate, I was like, I mean, did he look at it? Also, there's no way he's going to be able to fix it for that price. And you're saying it looks great?
It looks great.
Fuck, what a delight.
And it was $650.
Some people are still honest.
I know.
Maybe too honest.
I just ran out there because Juancho dropped it off out there.
Shout out Juancho.
Yes, and I went and I got it, and I somehow lost my phone in the process.
Oh.
So it's probably in the car, I hope.
Oh.
But I don't know. Yep.
You lose your phone enough that you can be relaxed when it's missing, right?
I'm not relaxed. It's like stressing me out a little bit.
I wouldn't even be able to function in this fact check.
It's a good challenge to not be so attached.
You're right. It's a great mental exercise. I have so much to cover. Once in a blue moon, I make a list of things I want to cover in the fact check, and that blue moon has arrived.
Oh, boy, because I also have a list.
Oh, you do? Personal or episode related?
Well, I have a list of facts, but then
Well,
I also have personals.
That's a given.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out my list.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? I don't want to presume to go first.
I do want to talk about my finger.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. So we
I'm
were
going to
in
put this down. And I'm sorry if it's triggering that I know where my phone is.
it's a little. And it's taunting me. I
Oh,
can
look, your
see
phone. I have your phone. Now you can
It.
relax.
Oh, great. We were in Austin, and it was really fun.
It always delivers.
Yeah.
God bless Austin.
It was so fun.
American by birth, Texan by the grace of God. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They also say, bigger the hair, the closer to God.
Oh, I've not heard that
Or is
one.
it
That's
the higher
great.
the hair, the closer to God? One of those.
Also, they say when you're bowling for a finish, you're foul through. Shake the hand with the Lord.
Oh, wow. I've never heard that.
Isn't that great?
I'm going to try that. So we were in Austin, and I was at breakfast, and great breakfast.
Was I there or this is
You were not there.
This is when I went with Ange to.
Yes, you went to another lunch spot, and I had a massage, so our schedules were not aligning. So I went to.
You blew me off several times, which I tip my hat to you. It's you really were on your own path.
Well,
I invited you to a
off,
party.
We'll circle back to this
okay,
conversation, okay?
Earmark.
So.
Not a sponsor. Earmark.
That's a great name for a business, actually.
Earmark.
Yeah.
We just copyrighted it. Don't try.
Don't take it.
Get all the handles,
It's
Rob.
already ours. We already got it. Okay. So I was walking. I love to walk when I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I go to random locations and then I walk for a long time back to my original destination. Or to
starting
my
point.
destination and my original location.
Yeah.
So I was like 35 minutes from the hotel, and I'm walking and I'm listening to Elizabeth and Andy, but nobody's listening, right? And it's so lovely.
Dream
and
weather, 75 every day.
great weather. And all of a sudden, I feel like something's sort of in my hair. And since I had headphones in, I was like, oh, maybe like my thing is caught.
Yeah.
And I swatted it with my hand, and I got stung.
Sting. And maybe even sting.
I'm starting to wonder if there was multiple stings.
Yeah.
So I was shook, and I like grabbed my hand. The stinger was still half in.
You saw it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It had white stuff.
Well, then
And-
only one.
No, unless it stung, and then that's where it ended.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. So then I yanked it out, I'm not sure if I got it all.
Well, do you see a black dot anywhere
There's
on your
a
hand?
dot.
There is? You might need Carly.
God, I don't want her to get in there.
You might need her to get in there. So there's nobody better.
I know.
What, Wabi?
She did it for Calvin once too.
Yeah, guys, if you're out there, use Louie as paint and body and use my sister Carly for any minor elective surgeries.
She is good at it. Anywho, so that was a bummer, right? Like it hurt, obviously, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I have a ring on that finger, a very important ring. And
Sweetest story.
so like a super thin gold ring with a tiny, tiny diamond on it. And I bought it after I booked my first commercial here.
See, that's the really cute part.
Yeah, I was really
You went out and spoiled yourself a little
I
bit.
did.
Yeah.
I was proud of myself for booking that
Yeah,
role.
I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of myself. I was. And so I bought that ring. So this is like 12 years ago, probably,
Yeah,
13.
Little 25-year-old baby.
I barely take that ring off. I've taken it off a couple other times in life for like an hour.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get off even
Things are-
normally. It's very hard to get off. It fits perfect, like a glove. And I didn't anticipate what would happen next, which is that my finger would start swelling like crazy.
Well, ballooned up. We could use the word ballooned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next morning, by the time I looked at it, the finger was enormous
Yeah.
and the ring was extremely tight.
I took one look at it and then I had to fight off a panic attack. Because, my only phobias are really claustrophobia. Somehow that fits in claustrophobia
that.
for me. I don't wear rings because the few times I've put them on, even if it's a little questionable whether it's going to come off, I panic.
Yeah.
And in fact, like on Parenthood, I had to wear a wedding ring. And I got to wear the only way I can wear one is if it's way too big. And then it's falling
I
off.
know.
So it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But I hate that. So I took a look at that and I was like, fuck that. We got to get that off of you right now. Should I go buy pliers?
I know. And I said, absolutely not. This is a very important ring.
Yeah. It's the source of all your good luck.
Yes, we'll get into that because
Okay.
so I was like, this is an important ring. Without it, who am I?
Uh-huh.
And yes, all my money and luck
Yes.
and a fortune is attached to this ring
Yeah.
and safety and security.
Yes.
So I was like, it'll be fine. This is probably the biggest it'll get. It'll go down and it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to like the next day, it's worse.
Yeah.
Then
Was
the
that a Thursday you got it?
I got it on Thursday.
Stung
Got
on
on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Friday, it didn't look good.
No.
Saturday, it didn't look good.
No.
And Sunday, I was flying home.
Yeah.
We flew separately.
Yeah.
I woke up and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I'm about to get on this plane. The pressure is going to be so intense on the plane. And what if it's a blood, like I hadn't thought about this, but I was like, what if this is like a blood clot situation?
Well, I said immediately, could be gangrene.
I know gangrene I'm not as worried about as I am a blood clot and an aneurysm because I'm very scared of aneurysms.
Okay,
So-
and then I need to point out, we were recording yesterday and I pointed this out. I'm going to point it out here. It's this wonderful juxtaposition of you both being terrified of aneurysms and blood clots. And what I might deem a hypochondriac, I know you'll push back on that, but I think you're a hypochondriac. And simultaneous to being a hypochondriac, when you have legitimate injuries and problems, you completely ignore them. So
I just
case
think
in
they'll
point,
be fine.
that's ignoring them. Your ear was so infected and nearly gangrenous, and you let it go on for, how long was that escapades? A month?
It was a while.
It was so long. You look like you were a rugby player or an MMA fighter. You look like you had cauliflower
No, I
ear.
didn't.
Yes, you did. You had cauliflower ear.
No,
and I
don't
was
say
cauliflower.
that. Don't stop saying cauliflower.
You had cauliflower ear down in Louisville.
I didn't have that.
Okay, it was disgusting. It would look like you were going to go septic or sepsis, whatever the word is, really quickly. And then people may remember I performed a surgery on you.
You did.
And it's a great video. Back to Carly. She watches it weekly.
She loves that video.
Probably just to brush up on her skills.
Yeah. So Sunday morning, I think, what have I done? I've made a huge mistake. Also, I'm flying separately from you. So if I have an aneurysm, I'll be by myself.
Yeah.
I hadn't even anticipated the fact that that could be I thought the pressure, but I was like, I'll deal with it. I'll put ice on it. But then when I got in my head that there could be a blood, because you are more prone to blood clots on a plane.
Yes, that's true.
So
Because
then,
of inactivity.
right, but since I was pulling up all the blood in my finger, I didn't know what I had set myself
Again,
up.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but when you don't have circulation, what you risk is that blood will become necrotic and poisonous. And when that happens, it starts spreading. And then we're lobbing off body parts. People get gangrene on their toe and they lose their whole foot. So you're playing with fire.
I was playing with fire.
And you're worried about a clot, which is not the right thing. Now, we'll get
Okay,
comments from physicians, and maybe I'm wrong.
Hold on.
I know,
Hold
I'm
your
being a little
horses.
too heated.
Yeah. Hold
But
your
as your
horses.
friend, I'm like, let's get this thing off you
But in
before
the
you have. What if you didn't have your middle finger right now?
I know what. Oh, look, it's still a little precarious. We'll get to that.
You struggle with your self-image enough. I had in there 4 fingers on one hand. You think you're going to be overcome that? You're a babe.
Yes, I'm very strong.
You're a babe, and you think you're a dog. Imagine now you have 9 fingers all in. You'd have
Okay.
to cut off another one to make it
Oh
even.
my
That's
God.
a side note.
Okay. Now, I did decide that morning that this ring's probably got to go before I get on this plane. But then I thought, how the fuck am I going to do that? So then I went into the cupboard at the hotel and I got the wine opener and I was trying to use that to get it off. That is a pretty good idea. Why are you looking like that? That's a good idea when there's no pliers around.
That's a terrible idea.
Why? That's the sharpest object.
And all you were going to add to that, yes, it's a sharp object that you're going to be like going like this with. It's so not controlled. You're going to be putting a ton of pressure on the corner of that, and you're going to now slice open your big donut finger.
I was worried about that.
Your water weenie finger. The fucking ring's still going to be on there. Now you're gushing blood. I mean, maybe some of the pressure will be. Anyways,
Anyway, I tried it a couple times, didn't work.
I'm so glad you didn't slice your finger in half.
So then I get to the airport and I am starting to panic a little bit.
Yeah.
I get my ice. I'm trying to ice it. Nothing's really happening. And then I decide to buy. I had Advil already. I decided to buy aspirin and Benadryl. Aspirin in case of the clot in aneurysm.
You want to thin out your blood a little bit? Sure.
So then
I need to add to people too so they understand because we haven't really given them. I need people to understand that the diameter of your middle knuckle on your middle finger was twice the size of the diameter of where the ring was. Like, I need people to understand this is a real
It was
cartoonish
serious. Yeah.
Robert Crumb drawing of a finger.
I have a picture. It doesn't do it justice, but I can post that.
It had that sense that if you poked it with a tiny needle, it would pop.
Yeah, and I was poking it. It didn't pop.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Anyway, so and also, okay, one of our bosses was on our flight who we had just met.
Oh, really? You didn't
Yes.
tell me that.
Yes. So
On your flight.
On my flight.
Yeah.
And and she's awesome. We had just met her.
Yeah.
And poor thing, I email her and I was like, "Are you on this flight?" And she said, "Yes, great. See you at the airport." And then she texted me, "I'll see you there." And I was like, "Yeah. Also, my finger, I got stung by a bee. My finger's huge and I'm a little worried it's going to explode."
I feel 8 years old right now.
Yeah, I did. I felt like I was so glad there was going to be somebody else there in case I died.
Okay.
Poor her, because she has 2 kids and she was on this vacation.
It was
and
her
then she had
first trip without kids.
She
And
had
now
to-
she has you as a kid.
deal with this kid. And she was so cute. She arrived at the terminal with some ice, which was
Oh,
really
my
nice.
Lord.
I had already got some ice for myself,
Okay.
of course. I also text my friend Sally, who is on the East Coast, because it was early. So I knew all my friends on the West Coast would be asleep. So I texted Sally from Argent.
I did not know it had gotten to this level.
Yeah, I know. I didn't tell you. So
Remember when you cut your finger in your apartment?
Yes.
It sounds very similar to
But
that.
that you are saying it's serious, and now you're trying to act like it's not serious. So that's why I wanted to set the table correctly that this was a problem.
Okay.
Now you're trying to act all like, well, it wasn't a problem. You're a hypochondriac.
No, it's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
but calling a friend in New York.
Why? What?
Well, how is she going to be a part of the game plan?
Well, why don't you keep listening?
Okay.
So I said, Sally, hey, I'm so sorry to bother you.
Hey, guy.
Do you know any doctors or medical professionals on the East Coast who could be up right now? And she said, yes. And so she put me on 2 texts with 2 different people.
Okay.
And I sent Sally a picture of my finger. And she sent the picture to them and said, this is Monica. This is what happened.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, I'm just, I'm about to get on the flight. I'm wondering if I should do anything. Should I take, this is another thing. I really didn't want to take the Benadryl because I didn't want to be sleepy all day. Okay. So I said,
You're juggling a lot of objectives.
do I need to take this Benadryl? I also have aspirin. Am I at risk for a blood clot? And the doctor said, he said, keep an eye on it. Maybe take the Benadryl. If it's starting to change color, you need to go to the ER and have it cut off.
Right.
And the ring.
Yeah.
And
just really quick, not to escalate this, but it would change color not because of a blood clot.
it doesn't matter. He
Okay,
was just,
okay.
He said I wasn't at risk for the blood clot. So I felt
okay,
better.
okay.
I was like, okay, then this is fine.
Okay.
However, the second medical professional was like, can you get the ring off? You definitely need to take Benadryl. She seemed scared, more scared.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Was there a lot of exclamation points in her text? How do you know she was scared?
I could tell by the way it was punctuated.
What if her text response said, "Stop this exchange, dial 911"?
That's what it felt.
Yeah.
That's what it felt.
You kind of wanted them to say that. a
No,
little bit.
I
you
didn't
Okay.
because I was like, I gotta get home.
Right.
I want to go home now.
Yeah.
I took the Benadryl.
Yeah.
We get on the plane. I'm there with our boss.
Yeah.
She's
You're
taking
seated next to each
care of
other?
me. Yeah, she saved me a seat, which was really nice.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we chatted the whole time. We had a great flight. It was so fun. My
Oh,
finger
great.
didn't explode.
Oh, okay, great.
And I knew it wasn't clotting, so I was like, great. So Jess picks me up from the airport.
Mhm.
I'm like, this is what happened. He was like, oh my God, that looks horrible.
Yeah.
We need to do something about this. And I was like, no, I made it through the flight. So I think it's at its peak now. I think it's going to go down. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm back feeling very confident.
Yeah. Bullish.
Then I woke up the next morning and it looked
Well, in the middle of the night, it
worse.
got hot and itchy.
Yeah,
You
and
take
that
more
had been
Benadryl.
happening for a couple days. And that's the other thing. It's still happening. Last night,
Yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night. It's like on fire and so itchy.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck is going on?
Histamines. It's sending histamines there.
So anyway, Monday,
Yeah.
I arrive. The finger is looking blue enough for me to be like, all right, we got to. And so you cut it off.
Hold on a second.
Okay, now you can
That's
step
not
in.
exactly what happened. You didn't come to me and say, "All right, I'm ready."
In my head, I did.
You said nothing. And then I looked at your finger and I said, "By God, Monica, please let me cut that ring off."
Well, I said, I
And you said,
knew when I
don't
arrived
want
that
to. And then I
day.
drug you to my tool bench. I put ether over your face so you'd pass out.
And you stole all my money.
And then I snipped it off.
Yeah, you did.
Real quick, everything was solved.
Yeah, well, it did immediately help. I was like, yeah, that definitely
And the
needed to be
swelling
off.
went down.
Swelling went down within a few hours. Like, it went down a lot. It's still swollen.
Sure. But it's not a water weenie.
It's not at all what it looked like. I was able to move the ring to a different finger, and I just like sort of kind of closed it
Yeah.
up in the back, and I felt safe.
Yeah.
But it's not going to last like that.
It's a very easy soldering for somebody.
But am I going to go through all that trouble for
All
this?
that,
like-
ask Juancho to go to a jewelry store and get it soldered.
Well,
That doesn't sound very hard.
it's like a
fixing your
$200. It's
door
like a
was a-
$200 ring. It's like I'm going to do all this
Yes, of course.
I
And in
am.
fact, that's a great message.
to the
Don't
universe.
let exterior forces define value for you. That ring means more to you than your $1,000 bone cuff or however much
Oh
that thing
yeah,
is.
much yeah.
So of course, spare no expense because
But I
that has
thought-
real value.
Fuck, I'm saying the opposite in my head. I'm like, Monica, stop. You need to stop putting so much emphasis on material items. Like, it's a ring.
Yeah.
It's not that big of
It's
a
not
deal.
in charge of your destiny.
Yes.
It doesn't have magic powers.
Yes.
But it is a thing that you bought as a reward for yourself when you came to a place to try to do something that was very hard and you did it and you were proud of yourself. And that's very sweet. And that's probably the most important piece of jewelry you actually have.
It is. But I'm
So-
not throwing it away.
Well, no, get it fixed.
Okay, fine. My God.
Send it to
so
Louis.
Mixed messages.
Send it to Louis. I bet if he can fix your door for $650, he'll have this ring back on your finger for $12. Okay?
Yeah.
Louis, are you listening? I don't think he's a listener.
Yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So all to say, that was the drama. And I am really sad about the ring, and I'm gonna decide maybe I will fix it. It's very thin gold. I mean, I don't know. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
And my finger still really hurts and is really itchy.
But it's way, way significantly better. Just like your ear got better really quick.
Yeah.
Now, I know the issue you're trying to confront on this recent life challenge is don't assign so much power to these things.
Yeah.
And that's a great one. But I would like you to also consider paying less attention to the things you don't have and more attention to the problems you do have.
What do you mean?
Like you'll spend so much time worrying about a blood clot that you don't have. And then you're not spending a lot of time on your ear or your finger, which are clearly fucked up. So maybe just also I take that back. You're on your own path. It's going great.
It's going pretty good.
It's going really good. Back to Austin.
Yeah.
Really fun time.
Yes.
We did a couple panels.
Yeah.
We had fucking shout out, not a sponsor, Lambert Steakhouse.
Oh my God.
Guys, we went out to eat on Wednesday with lovely Adam Grant. He was part of our panel.
Yep.
Went to Lambert's. I got the ribeye.
Yeah.
And 3 bites in, the addict panicked.
Yeah.
Like, I need a second one of these because the thought of this being over is terrifying.
Yeah.
It was so good. I don't know what's in it. A friend suggested it might have been marinated with maple syrup.
Yeah.
It had horseradish, which you don't generally like, smeared all over the top with this very sweet glaze. Charred medium. The fat was all
so
melted.
Sweet. I mean, it was just like sugar. The
It
whole
was like
thing.
a Snickers bar or something.
Yeah. It was
My
delicious.
God, it was so good. And all I thought about every 10 minutes following that meal was getting another one. So we went back in 2 days.
Yep.
And I did no sides or anything.
Yep.
And just did 2 ribeyes.
You did too.
Fuck.
And I was worried, but you did just fine.
I felt so strong.
Yeah.
I felt like a bull.
Yeah.
I almost ran out the side of the restaurant through the brick wall instead of using the door. It was so good.
Yeah.
Got to go to Barton Springs.
Yep.
It was closed one day, heartbreaker. I can never seem to remember they're closed for cleaning on Thursday. I can't tell you how many times I've driven there on Thursday, unloaded all my shit, walked to the gate and go, oh yeah, that's right, they cleaned it on Thursday. That happened again. But went out with Rory and Ange a couple times. Big shout out to Rory and Ange. Lent us an outrageously beautiful car.
Yes.
Couldn't rent a car. No inventory because F1 weekend.
Yep.
So I got this beautiful car. I'm almost embarrassed to say what it is, but I guess it's not my car.
Yeah.
But it was a Bentley.
It was a Bentley.
It was a green, sexy Bentley.
It was gorgeous.
I felt like royalty driving it. I was like, oh, I understand why people drive these cars.
Yeah.
Plush, fast.
And we ate Dairy Queen in there.
We had
We
not
spilled
in the,
it all over the
No,
car,
we didn't.
Rory.
We didn't. We went to Dairy Queen twice, and you said, are we going to eat in the car? And I said, of course we're not going to eat in this car. This car costs as much as a house. How fucking rude could that be? Borrow someone's Bentley and go to Dairy Queen.
Oh,
You also got a dip cone, which was a fucking mess. There was shit leaking all over all the side. Like, you would have destroyed that car.
Well, I
It would have
was
made
more
your
like,
door
how are we
repair.
going to do this? Like, I didn't even consider the fact that we wouldn't eat in the. I've never done that.
Yeah.
So I that wasn't even an option in my head. So I was kind of like, is this a good idea? Us going to Dairy Queen in this car?
Right. But I knew we were going to eat outside because it's a dicey Dairy Queen, which I like. There's like the parking lot is potentially.
That's why I don't
There's
even think it's
certainly
an option.
Been gunshots in the parking lot.
Yeah.
How many I won't claim, but definitely they've been inside the Dairy Queen and heard gunshots. And I like that. You sit outside and people, this shit going on. Anyways, then we went to the sprint race.
Yeah, which was so fun.
So fun. Great
Got to
race.
go with Amazon, which was really nice.
Really fun. Guests of Amazon. And Max Verstappen, who had not won in a while, won the sprint race, which made me so happy.
Yep.
Didn't win the big race, but that's okay.
Oh, he didn't.
He didn't. But Charles Leclerc did, and that's nice. He hasn't won in a while, too, and I love Charles Leclerc.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was fun. You were a good luck charm.
I was a good luck charm. Then we went, same day. This might be the most eventful day ever.
Huge day.
When you talk about like going to see Beyonce or going to see Taylor Swift or going to a Super Bowl, we got 2 of them in one day. A Formula One race in Austin is an
Yes.
event of a lifetime. And then in the evening, what did we do?
We went to the Texas-Georgia game.
Texas, Georgia. This was the game
Huge
of the
game.
century. I had only been to a UCLA game, and no disrespect to my alma mater, what a fucking joke of a show they put on at UCLA compared to what's happening in Texas.
What's happening in the SEC? The SEC.
Yeah, I know, you're horny for the SEC. You must have said SEC like 12 times while we were there.
Because that's the truth. And
I'm sure you're right. I know nothing about that.
Okay, well, yeah.
But you
And
kept going like SEC. Yeah, now you're in the SEC. You like
it was the first, because I was telling you, I'm confused because I don't remember us ever playing Texas while I was at Georgia. So I was confused.
the Longhorns. Hook 'em.
Ew. Then I checked in with my friend Robbie, who knows everything about college football. And I said, I don't remember this. And he said, we didn't play them because they just joined the SEC this year.
First year.
So it was a big deal. They're playing in the big leagues now.
Yep, that was mostly your point.
Yep.
So
It was because they were number one going into this game,
okay, all great. They bring out Bovey. Is that the name of the mascot?
I think.
A Longhorn. Hook 'em. 2,000-pound biggest mascot.
Okay.
What are we gonna do?
We're going to have a fight on this. I wanted to have the fight while we were there, but
You
we
were mad
couldn't.
at me.
A
Quite
little.
a bit. Yeah, you were
No,
mad at me
I
quite a
wasn't
bit.
really mad, but now I'm getting actually mad.
You were kind of actually mad at me.
No, I
if you don't
wasn't.
remember.
I wasn't, because I knew why. I understood why you were pretending to be a Texas fan there. Because can we tell people what we were doing?
Yeah, we were guests of my new boyfriend, Matthew McConaughey. Well, we didn't see him.
We didn't see him because he's on the field.
I can do 45 minutes of McConaughey. McConaughey is the actual mascot of
Texas football.
the Longhorns.
Bevo.
Devo?
Bevo. B-E-V-O.
Bevo.
And
Like
we're
bovine?
sure that's how you pronounce it.
No, I have no
Bevo,
idea.
Bevo. If we were filming a movie of what happened, my guess is we're going to have to do about 12 takes to get the timing right of what happened when they showed McConaughey on the big screen. Well, first of all, the place is incredibly on fire.
Oh yeah.
They're going
SEC,
so
that's what
fucking
happens.
hard. The jets fly over. There's smoke everywhere. They're running out fucking pyrotechnics.
Yeah,
Bovey
so
or
fun.
Bud Bevy or Dovim. They run her out or him out.
Oh,
the
boy.
Longhorns, you got to hook them. And then going around. And then they show all the fun footage and everything. And they're kind of showing famous alumni and everything. And then all of a sudden they show like some person's famous face and then a thing. And then they show like a mystery face, and all of a sudden goes to a live shot, and McConaughey's back is to the camera, right? And the second that shot comes on, he throws his head back and gives it the horns.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
It was glorious.
It was really good.
Fuck, I'm like, this guy is magic, and he's on the field. He's
He
the
gets
coach.
to be on the field. Yeah.
He owns the whole place.
Yeah.
It's his team. It's McConaughey's Longhorns.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a cowboy hat and a brown leather jacket. And he turned around and gave the horns, and his fucking face was glistening. I was like, this motherfucker is a star.
He is a star. There's
I'm
no
in
getting
love with
around
him.
it. I know you are. And we were a guest of his. It was so sweet.
It
We
was.
were in his suite.
Yes.
And we were with his friends and his family, and they were all lovely.
Oh my God, nicest group of folks.
Oh.
That's telling, by the way. Like, I only know McConaughey so much. We went up Lambert's, ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
And then we've interviewed him. But I think when you meet people's friends,
Huge.
yeah, you really understand who the person is.
And his kids were so polite and nice and sweet. Oh, it is lovely.
Two things. A, I love Austin. Austin's my place, you know. It's my spiritual calling. That's not the right word.
Even though
It's my spiritual center.
I asked you if you,
I love Austin. You know, I've wanted to move there a bunch of times. I've told you recently, if I had to do it all over again, I went to another college, it would definitely be University of Texas, Austin. I feel like that's my vibe. Oh, you can't, you can't even walk with me a little bit
I
on
can't
this.
because you already told me on the trip that you would rather live in Paris than Austin.
No, I think we were talking about time teleporting.
No, we were not. I said something about Austin, and then you said, well, I don't know if I wouldn't pick Paris.
Okay. But again, I don't speak French. All right. So as much as I love Paris, I'm not actually, when it comes down to it, certain I would live in Paris over Austin. None of this is here nor there.
It's here.
So I, of course, wanted to support Texas because of our host, but then also I love Texas. I love University of Texas. I love them.
No, you don't.
What do you mean I do?
How do you love
Do you
a
remember
place
my
you've
last
never
trip there?
been?
I went to the campus and wandered around, and I was looking at how they positioned the campus on the Capitol sightline. And all. Do you remember all that? I've never wandered the campus of any other college other than Harvard.
Yeah, but
Like,
wander the campus.
I'm at my hotel. I'm like, I got to walk around UT. I like this. I'm going to go look at this place. I love this place.
Anywho's.
Okay.
So I decided to maintain my integrity. You know, I'm at a real crossroads here before we go to this game, because I am like, what the fuck am I going to do? Am I going to not wear Georgia clothes? Because that feels like really wrong in my bones.
Now, here's my issue. So do you remember? I was 100% supportive of you wearing your red. And I said, they'll love having you in the suite. It's fun to have one of the rivals there.
Sure.
So I was like very supportive, and I said they would like it. And they did. They were like, oh, good.
Yeah, they did.
We had a Georgia fan. And then there was fun. There was secretly 3 Georgia fans there, which we found out, which was fun.
That was fun.
And so I was very supportive of you rooting on Georgia. And I don't know why you were so mad I was rooting on Texas.
Do you don't see the difference? Me rooting for Georgia, a school I went to?
No, I fully understand why you were supporting Georgia.
But yes, so it's not an equivalent for you to root for a school that you didn't go to and have no connection to.
But I like and have an affinity for. And I would naturally, if you're not in the picture and I'm in Texas at that game, I'm rooting for the Longhorns. Welcome.
That's fine. I'm just like,
I don't know why it's a betrayal. It became a betrayal, or it's potentially a betrayal.
it makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like if I'm with you at some anthropology conference and it's like UCLA anthropology versus Harvard anthropology, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here for Harvard. You'd be like, why?
I mean,
I love Harvard. Harvard's amazing. It's great. I love the campus.
I guess my comp was if we go to the Formula One race and you're rooting for Lando Norris to pass Max. Max is my driver. I don't mind at all if you're rooting for. I don't need you to be rooting for the same person I am.
But it's not the same when none of us like are friends with any of the F1 players or
I was.
Well, we were we were friends with Danny, and so for me,
by the way, we fought over that. So this is consistent.
Okay.
Because you in the past were like, how are you saying Max is your favorite driver when your friend is Daniel Ricciardo?
Yeah. I think
And I said, I am friends with Daniel and I love him and I would help him move furniture. He's my friend. That doesn't mean I have to have him as my favorite driver. I'm not friends with him because he's my favorite driver. I'm friends with him because I like him.
Yeah.
And my favorite driver is Max Verstappen. Like, I don't know how else to say it. And that was fine with me.
Well, of course it's fine with you. That's it's your opinion and your decision.
Yeah. I don't require people to like what I like to be friends with me. I don't require, if a friend of mine's favorite podcast is Rogan over our show or Smartless, that doesn't bother me at all.
No, that doesn't bother me at all either.
So why would Ricardo demand that I'm rooting? I'm going to root for someone that's going to win. And Ricardo wasn't in a position to win since we've been friends. He wasn't driving for Red Bull or...
You're picking based on who's going to win, not based on anything else.
Well, I'm picking who I think is the best driver.
I'm back to football.
Okay, let's go back to football.
So it's not like you grew up a Texas fan. If you did, of course, I'd be like, yeah, he's a Texas fan. This is the way it goes. You're not.
Do you know what I would do, though?
What?
Just to scramble your brain a little bit further. If we were watching Georgia play UCLA, I would have rooted for Georgia. How much does that fuck you up?
Yeah,
because again, I will say, and I explained this to you when we were there, if I have a team, the only team I watch games of in the last couple years are U of M and Georgia. Mm-hmm. As you remember, I got very excited when Georgia won. It was very fun. I like rooting for them. Mm-hmm. And I was rooting for Texas that night, but I like Georgia very much. I like Georgia more than I would want UCLA to win Then if we threw U of M in there, that'd be very confusing. I'd probably want U of M to win over UCLA, even though I didn't even go there.
That I can get behind. Again,
Okay.
that makes more sense to me. You grew up in Michigan. Of course you want Michigan to win things.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Texas does not make sense. I know
It does
you.
to me because Austin's my place for 21 years since I did Idiocracy
All right, well, they
there.
lost, and it was really fucking fun for me to be there and us really crushed. Welcome to the SEC, Texas, because you are in a little over your head.
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
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 I was proud of my boys, my Georgia boys. You know I went there, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, dogs.
It's not.
Sick 'em.
It's not an arbitrary.
Sick 'em.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard you say
No,
that.
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I've said sick 'em a lot. I like to say these little catchphrases: roll tide, sick 'em, hook 'em horns. But I think if we dare, we don't have time.
What?
But the core, if like a therapist was sitting here, we both know what the core of
Of
this is.
course. My fear is that you don't have any loyalty.
That's right. You pick things I don't pick as a test of loyalty.
I pick things you don't.
Well, there were two things on the trip that were kind of tests of loyalty.
Okay, what was the other? Oh, like a serious thing?
Yeah. And so you and I have different baseline of what we expect from people who love us.
What do you expect?
That you don't gossip behind my back.
Even though, you know, you've gossiped about people we have gossiped about people we love behind their back. Me and you together, so I know it's true.
Well, okay. I mean, this is, I think there's differences in this. And you have commended me in the past, and I'm not someone who talks shit about all my
You're
friends.
not,
You've like commended me for that.
You don't talk shit, but me and you have talked about people.
But generally, I think we've talked about people who have real, like that are going through real problems.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting off on the, do you hear so-and-so did that?
No.
I know the difference.
I do too.
Yeah. So when you're excited to share information about somebody else, to raise your personal status, because you have a secret that you've been entrusted with, that is one thing to me. So at any rate,
But
we have different criteria, and that's just how it is, unfortunately. Like you and I have different criteria, and those are not going to ever match up. Like I'm never going to say an enemy of yours is an enemy of mine, and I'm never going to love someone because you love them. I'll either love the person or hate the person, but it won't be that. Our friendship will have nothing to do with that. And I'll either love or hate Georgia because I love or hate Georgia. I don't take on my friends' lists of, allies and enemies.
Yeah, which is fine with me. It's just when you have no skin in the game at all, I don't understand why you wouldn't just, like, for me, if I don't have I'm not going to switch my view. Like, if I'm a Georgia fan and you're a huge Michigan, like this insane Michigan fan, I'm of course not going to be like, I guess now I'm a Michigan fan because for Dax.
And by the way, I don't want a friend like that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But if I have no connection,
I know.
zero,
Now you and I could debate that. You think I have no connection, and that's fine. I did not go to school there. But 21 years ago, I did a movie there, and I fell in
love
love
it.
there. And I go there more than any other place.
Yes, I know
mean,
that.
just by a factor of 10. I've been to Austin over the last 21 years, 10 times more than any other place.
Yeah.
I love it there. I've walked the campus. I love it there. I want them to win. I love that town. I loved the stadium. I loved what was happening. You don't think I have any business loving them, but I do.
Okay.
Because I love Austin.
I get it. I just can't relate.
Right.
Because if I really do believe if it was reversed and we were in New York.
Okay.
New York is my favorite city. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
If we're in New York and they were doing something against something you cared about.
Yeah.
I would be rooting for who you wanted to win because I love New York, but I'm not. That's all I do is I love it. Like I don't feel.
Well, and that's what's funny. You would
connection.
show your love for me the way you want me to show my love for you.
Well, don't we all do
But
that?
I don't want you to root for anything I root for. Like that's the huge chasm between us. That's the thing that's hard for us to resolve because you would do that for me, and I don't.
It's not for you. It's just like, why wouldn't I pick the side of the person I care about? Why wouldn't I do that when I have no I have no reason not to do it. That's the thing. Like
Sure.
it's not for you. It's
If
not
they
like,
were-
well, I'm doing a big thing for you right now and
If
I'm
they were
taking this
playing
on.
the Oklahoma Sooners, I would have rooted for Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah. If it means nothing, of course.
right. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Okay. I have a bunch of stuff, but the only thing the top priority of mine is to talk about the English teacher.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Fantastic.
That's number one priority.
Great.
In retrospect, I should have said it just at the top for a second as a teaser, but maybe I'll say it in the intro.
Yeah.
We have watched The English Teacher on Hulu, and we fucking love it. It's so goddamn good.
It is.
And it's more than just good.
Yeah.
There's something important about it too.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's like an evolution for me,
Let's hear it.
which is, and I can admit all this, you know, there was some period in the evolution of comedy since I've been in it for 30 years where people made fun of different groups. Those groups didn't have an equal microphone
Yeah.
and it was unfair. It was lopsided. If a white comedian's making jokes about Toyota Camry ownership in the Indian community, there's no one else there to punch back. Then Hassan comes along and he makes tons of jokes about the Toyota Corolla or Camry. And as groups have become disenfranchised. So what I was worried about in that spell is there was some part of me that has a core belief that everyone should be made fun of. That it's like positive, it's humanizing, it's
Yeah.
fun. If the spirit's right, it is a good part of us. And comedy is this great tool to point out things in a very special way that only comedy can do. So the notion to me that no one was going to get made fun of anymore was a little concerning to me. Now, what has happened, and this show to me is like one of the proofs of this, is that the solution was give all of these disenfranchised groups platforms and representation in shows and time on stage and all this. And they'll make fun of themselves.
Or others. That,
And us.
Yeah.
And everyone. You know, whatever group. But Hassan's making fun of Indians in a great way. Think it still needs to happen. You know, this group's making fun of this group. But to have a gay show creator and lead actor,
Yes.
Brian Jordan Alvarez, who's the lead of the show and he is the creator,
Yeah.
to let him handle that whole zone of gayness in a school as an openly gay teacher is just great. And the perspective's better.
Definitely.
The perspective is so complete. So everything's happening at once. He's like making great points we should all think about. Then he's making fun of some things that are nuts.
Totally.
And it's him doing it, so it feels great.
Yeah. I feel safe.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, right, here we go. This is kind of the thing I minimally hoped would happen over time, which is like, yeah, we should keep fucking poking at everyone, but it should be the people in the group doing the poking.
Yeah. It's such a funny show.
It's so good. We had only known about it because they said our show
They
on it.
did.
And then I fucking narcissistically only went and watched that thing because people told
The
me, oh, it's
clip.
like, yeah, I watched the clip. Now that I've watched the whole show, now I feel insanely flattered
Yes.
that he brought us up in this show that is perfection.
It's great.
Fuck, it makes me happy.
It's so flattering. Okay, I'm going to do a few facts quickly, very quickly. The Big Hit of Kiwi sketch, people should watch that. It's called Taste Test. It's on SNL, but if you type that in, you can find it. It's so funny. When did Dangerous Liaisons come out? 1988.
Ooh.
And is the...
One's years old.
Just 1 year old. The Snake Pit is still there.
Oh, it is? Oh, great.
What did Sidney Poitier? He won the Academy Award for Lilies of the Field.
Oh, never seen it.
Yeah, me either.
You should. It's your middle name.
It is. One of the actors in their podcast, one of the voice actors in their podcast that we were discussing.
The Aussie?
Yes, she's from New Zealand. She's a Kiwi. Speaking of Kiwi, Big Hit of Kiwi. Her name's Anna Scotney, and they were saying that they saw her in a Taika movie. That movie is called The Breaker Uppers. Taika produced it.
Okay, The Breaker Uppers.
And Gloria Steinem, We Are Linked, Not Ranked. Love that. She brought that up. Melissa brought that up. And there's a store and there's bracelets.
Oh.
Yeah. Let the Cat Out of the Bag. I just wanted to look up the explanation for that phrase.
Yeah.
In medieval markets, animals like piglets, chickens, and ducks were sold in sacks. Dishonest merchants would sometimes swap out a pig for a cat when the customer looked away. The buyer wouldn't realize they'd been cheated until they got home and opened the bag, which is when they would have let the cat out of the bag.
Oh, wow.
I know. I liked that. And that's it.
That's that?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Last thing, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
People have pointed out, and I think they're dead right. If you recall in our Jeff Bridges interview, when it started out, he said, I think I just saw you playing an addict in something.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think I've played an addict. Remember, there's like
Right.
confusion.
I do remember that.
And people were very smart to point out Zach Braff played an addict in Bad Monkey, which was definitely airing at that moment. He had 1,000% thought.
That is so funny.
Isn't that great?
Wow. That's
still
fantastic.
happening.
I will say recently he posted a picture of something of him like with some kid, and I think the kid is like touching his face, so you couldn't see his face completely, but I was scrolling on Instagram and I 100% thought it was you.
You thought there was a little kid touching my face?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Here we go. 20 years in and it's still happening.
I know. It's great. It's great.
All right. I love you.
Love you.